best that you never, never had. I'ma kick back when you fake like that. Head out of the game, I don't play that fact. Won't you let me go? No, you never come back. I'ma be the best that you never, never had. I'ma kick back when you fake like that. Head out of the game, I don't play that fact. Won't you let me go? No, you never come back. I'ma be the best that you never, never had. I'ma kick back when you fake like that. Head out of the game, I don't play that fact. Won't you let me go? No, you never come back. I'ma be the best that you never, never had.
Savage little baby and Fenty, baddest little bitty of the century. Internet blow up, superstar I don't touch. Showing off, causing a frenzy. She leaving an imprint in your memory. Energy, focus, superstar glow up. Superstar glow up, fit drip so sick, man, I'm all throw up. Take it in, don't rush, need 10 hours sleep, yeah, just woke up. Blessings on blessings, just keep coming on at me high speed. Check out the positive man like it's Nike. Hottest headline or the festival, 400 racks for a piece of my schedule. They all thought I was delusional, but I'm a manifestor of miracles. Best dress, I'm on the list on the internet, upload a clip and hit me a lick. Oh my god, I'm so rich, couple milli just off of the clicks. Savage little baby and Fenty, baddest little bitty of the century. Internet blow up, superstar don't touch. Showing off, causing a frenzy. She leaving an imprint in your memory. Energy, focus, superstar glow up. Light, shine bright, superstar illuminate through the night. Yeah, my light, shine bright, superstar. Yeah, she one of a kind. Baby be shining bright like a diamond. Meditate daily, baby enlightened, baby make racks, baby spend cash, baby go get it and she don't gotta ask. Baby gon' run it up like an athlete, plays gold at the track meet. At the stadium show going super hard, cause baby a superstar. Just bought a crib out of lake, off of the grid and out of LA. Spirit awake, life is amazing, don't waste a day. Learn from the L's and mistakes. Baby so glowed up, baby focused, got my eyes on me. Baby made so much, feeling generous, 6 figs in a week. Savage little baby and Fenty, baddest little bitty of the century. Internet blow up, superstar don't touch. Showing off, causing a frenzy. She leaving an imprint in your memory. Energy, focus, superstar glow up.
J like the letter, I'm making several waves. I know the mission is same. I made a splash, now all of my passes last like running a race with Usain. I keep it coming like this is buffet. And if I'm stumbling, I'm in the graves. Never gon' fumble it. I get the bag and I run with it, gunning it, gunning it, gunning it, gunning it. Murray with the legs, all about finesse. I am not impressed. I don't need a rest coming in with less than you see the flash. Elohim with the melody and the kiss supply the breath. 70, keep it heavenly, everybody get the bread. I got the bread and I got the juice. I got some dogs and I let them loose. Bring in the storm and this ain't the Zeus. Walk in the skies but this ain't the loop. This ain't the cruise. We ain't the same, you ain't have a clue. I'm in the game and untouchable. Cause I got the flame and this is the proof. Loading my toad, I still want all the smoke. We ain't talking about jokes, we just talking about more. I see all of my goals and it's looking like gold. I ain't asking for hope cause I know that it's show. Now you seeing me blow. This is premeditated, I've been underrated. That's an understatement, I ain't coming later. The abundance came when I allowed my bosom to the loving greatest. He the one who made it, so I'm in my bag. I died way before I ever raise a white flag. Shooting right back, raise the price tag. Chasing down all of these ghosts till I grab. Who could really stop me is what I ask. Homie, you can never get your time back. Only me and my reflection fight back. Why this beat gon' probably need an ice pack. J like the 26, I'm finna run with it. I ain't gon' punt, we ain't taking it knee. I keep the starters and we going farther like T.O. and Philly, we throwing it deep. This only possible through all the obstacles. I went ahead and I found me some peace. It's why my reflection is rocking the cheese. J like the letter, I'm making several waves. I know the mission is same. I made a splash, now all of my passes last like running a race with Usain. I keep it coming like this is buffet. And if I'm stumbling, I'm in the graves. Never gon' fumble it. I get the bag and I run with it, gunning it, gunning it, gunning it, gunning it. Murray with the legs, all about finesse. I am not impressed. I don't need a rest coming in.
Oh yeah.
EU's brightest up-and-coming stars are facing off tonight as they reach towards a grand prize in the Community Showdown 2. Welcome to the Charge Community Showdown 2 Qualifiers, which is the first step towards that road, towards that grand prize. And we've got lots of players from Tier 3, Tier 2, looking to make their way there. The top 4 teams will be cementing their place in the Community Showdown 2. My name is Gio. I will be commentating, desking, analysising for you today, alongside my wonderful compatriots.
Hello, I'm iAvalanche. I will also be doing whatever we're doing. We have some commentary going on, and we've got the desk here, and I believe to my right is...
Hello everybody, my name is Retros, and if you are ready for a constant stream of Overwatch, then you have come to the perfect place today. And to my right is my co-caster for our games,
Swag Studios. It's a pleasure to be here, coming at you live from Canada. My fellow brother in Arms Retro and NA, and I'm happy to cast some Overwatch tonight. You know, got some snow today, a little cold out, but hopefully we'll get warm on the field here, as I think our players are already warmed up after getting through the Swiss, but now we've got quarters, semis, and some grand finals to get through.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment about the weather here in Scotland, but now that we have someone from Canada, I really can't do that. Good favour. But you're right. The Swiss stage is over. They've already played the Swiss stage, so there are standings, and we can talk about that to kind of gauge ourselves here as we walk into what will be the bracket. So one of the teams that we have here is Hypnos, kind of brother-sister team to ex-Oblivioni in the EMEA region. They are at the top of the standings. In terms of like these standings, just so you know, there was a best of one match they have played with each of the other teams. So there's not a whole lot you can really digest from it, but you get like a good gist of like who the top teams are. And I think looking at it here, probably Hypnos is number one. Then you have Max Relax at number 2, Lucky Cat number 3, Moths 4, Nevs 5, Team CC at 6, University of Glasgow Winston's at 7, and Student of Bert at 8. But it's Moths and Nevs that will be watching first, Avalanche.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams sort of around the 3-2 that have come in through our Swiss, and two of these teams we're going to see in our first match, so it should be a close one. I believe a few teams took Hypnos close as well, even though they didn't end up losing a single one of their best of ones. But again, they are best of ones, so you can't quite take too much out of it. But looking forward to seeing what should be a tight game in our first match, and of course, whoever wins this goes through to the FACEIT Community Cup 2.
Yeah, I mean, being located here in NA, I haven't really heard of too many of these European teams, but the one that does definitely ring a bell is Ex Oblivione and Hypnos. So I definitely feel like they are going to be the team that everyone else is striving to beat. They're going to be the ones that you want to meet in bracket and show that you are a formidable opponent to them. But honestly, I feel like any one of these teams can easily take it.
Indeed, and for this matchup, mentioning that we got Nevs versus Moss up first, this is going to be a formidable matchup itself. The Swiss stage that these teams actually faced off, and it was a really close match there. 5-4 in favor of Moths. They won that one. So hopefully Nevs can come back this time, but I'm going to be interested to see how Nevs reiterate like what they did wrong maybe in that game, what they can improve on, and how they can come back to hopefully take it off of Moths this time.
Yeah, and some recognizable names if you're familiar with like the kind of tier 3, tier 2 scene of EMEA. On Team Nevs, you have Nevs themselves, who is the tank there. Also on the team, you've got Unto Vanen, who was also on the team with Nevs, Frog Esports. You've got Fista and Depsy, who were on a team together called Good Guys. Recently casted them in the Nordic Esports League, and then you've got Helmdrick rounding out the roster. So there's some pre-existing synergy with Team Nevs there that I'm really going to be looking at to see how those players work that into this weekend, this night. And obviously you've got Moths there with names I'm not as familiar with, but the name NRG brings a tear to my eye for other reasons that we won't get into.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see these two teams obviously having face-off in a best of one, but as much as a best of one will tell you something, it will tell you this team did a little bit better against the other. It was also a best of one, so going into a best of three, it'll be really interesting to see where these two teams go to. And also, we're coming not fresh off of a patch, but we're quite close to it, and some teams will still be trying to find their feet after the new patch. I believe we also have Hazard in today, so it'll be interesting to see if any teams decide to go for the outlier. Maybe some teams won't have cracked it so much, but if there's any way to take down a team that you think you might need a wild card, it's bringing out the new hero and showing off your skills on them.
Yeah, I mean, these teams have had probably enough time to play Hazard, especially with the early release and now with the patch fully out. But in that best of three, that means even if you lose the first game, you have 2 more games to reach into your bag of tricks. Find some heroes that maybe, you know what, this can work in a comp. And if you're confident enough, then, you pull it out, you surprise the other team. That could be your game, and then you're going to game 3. That just means, you're one step closer to pulling that game back. It's never losable in a best of 3.
Indeed, and Avalanche, I love that you mentioned that we do have Hazard as an option here, because I was actually taking a look at the character just the other day, and I don't know about you guys, but this seems more like a dive-oriented character, like a lot more mobility out from him, and his shield ability also allowing him to protect himself from the front while damaging people within a short range is going to be a very big thing in this game, as well as his primary fire, which is kind of like a shotgun, which could do a lot up front, which I'm going to be interested to see if they use it out in this comp, but I haven't seen that so far in any of like professional tournaments. As you mentioned, he's a very new character to the scene, so we'll have to see when matches come up if he's used in that kind of way.
Yeah, and as a person who watches Overwatch, but also as a Scottish person, I would love to see Hazard, but unfortunately, my heart has been frozen over with bitterness being in the Overwatch community for so long. There is a massive problem with playing Hazard, and it's a big, massive hunk of meat that holds 2 miniguns. I don't think we'll see much deviation from Mauga or Rissa compositions. I think with the like brief buff that Sojourn had, which is now kind of like subdued again, maybe you could have seen some other things, but I really think we're going to see teams maybe prefer to play more of the Mauga style, still with characters like Genji or Echo, maybe even a Pharah to like follow up with those kind of like damages. Pharah very good because you can cage and then safely barrage, which is a very, very rare type of barrage given how risky it is to use that ultimate. So yeah, I would love to see Hazard. Do not get me wrong. I just think it's going to be a Mauga fest again.
Yeah, we could see it. And I mean, as someone who's done a little bit of work in the UK university scene, sometimes some of those games just goes down to, well, we don't think we're going to win in a matchup of the same comp in the mirror matchup, so maybe we'll just throw some things at the wall and see what sticks. Go back to those comfort picks as well, and I've seen a few of those work out. I mean, if you don't get on with the meta and you feel like you can do better on your comfort hero, then going for it is definitely something that we might see some of these teams that are fighting to get into the top 4 go with.
For sure, but I think a big role that is going to impact these games a lot, like they do always, is support. I mean, as much as tanks and DPS are up front, like you see them in the kill feed, they're the Anas, they're the like Moiras, Mercies, everyone else on the support lineup that's really just keeping the team alive, healthy. And I honestly think we could see. I think Brawl's going to be really big here. We could honestly see how Hazard tied with maybe like a Lucio or a Kiriko, just kind of following him, you know, guiding him around the map, diving in the back line. But even still with the Mauga, Kiriko obviously is going to have her mainstay. But I feel like with that maybe other support, we could have some interesting deviation. Personally, I would love to see Zen. I feel like I have a friend who's a big Zen lover, and I gotta be honest, seeing Zen, it like tickles that Overwatch 1 Jonak itch.
It is indeed going to tickle that, like, that old feeling of like, wow, we're going to see Zen in the comp again. Haven't seen him there in a while. He's kind of been on the bench for the longest time. But another thing that I'd like to talk about quickly that we're going to get to see soon, as players are still banning right now, is map picks. And looking from the limited information that we have so far on these two teams, it seems that Nevs have a favorable win rate on Nepal, which I think could be very interesting. As if I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Nepal has a lot of opportunities to play like that Lucio or someone even like that Mauga to try and get people off of the map. Am I wrong or am I right?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of opportunities for like just a quick environmental, especially if you get on a high health pool character. Then you've done a lot of work very quickly there. Yeah, in terms of like the backline, I would love to see Zen. I'm just scared that Zen would get sat on, but I don't want to like harken back to Avalanche's point. Like we are in a range of skill where like these players are still up and coming and are like more individual with their playstyles. So there will be like teams that probably will kind of surprise us. We will probably see things that we did not expect to see. That's what I'm looking forward to here. That's what I want to see from these players, to show that individuality instead of just sticking to like, okay, it's Juno, it's Brig, and where we have a Mauga or an Orisa, and here's just the lane that we are pushing until something dies. But on the PAL opens up to like a lot more like kind of multiple angles, controlling different lanes with a kind of dive, like you mentioned. Pharah, I think, is still like a strong back pocket pick. So if you have a Pharah, that'll be really, really good, especially on the PAL. Even in Sanctum, where there's a roof, you might think that's bad for Pharah, but no, there's lots of corners to play with, right? Lots of pillars that she can fly around. So I think the PAL would work really well for players that have like a Pharah in the back pocket and like very hard poke as well.
Yeah, and I think with some of the teams that we see today, some of them have played together before, but as you mentioned, there's some teams that are made up of sort of maybe two split teams that have
Mm-hmm.
played together, a few different people that have played together on teams before. But it'll be interesting, especially if we're going to see something like a Lucio or a Juno, whether they're going to be able to come correctly to make use of the speed availability that those characters give you. And of course, yeah, with Lucio as well, it is not just the speed that he gives you, he also gives you the displacement, and that can be an easy fight win. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams are going to play around speed if they do decide to go around that and play into a bit of a more fast brawl, maybe a bit of a rush.
Yeah, I mean, and again, going back to what Swag was saying, with just general map pick is also really going to determine. I hate to admit it, the more I think about it, Gio, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be Malga mainstay. I mean, he is the best tank, even after waves of nerfs. But I do think with the rest of the team, depending on what map, we could get payload, we could get, capture, just whatever it may be. I think it's really going to change up. I honestly am a big fan of just like any player having the ability to pop off on like one of those big carry characters, so like a Genji or even like Tracer or Widowmaker. So we could see a little bit more of that and pressuring the backline with the absence of shields. So that could be interesting. And then just ultimate play, how it's going to come down with positioning and use of terrain, because we have had a lot of map reworks recently, and a lot of those payload maps are, you can kind of have a bit more freedom on the flank because you have some more cover, some alternate routes. It's really honestly opened up the map with them putting more stuff on for those kind of like Sombra, Echo flank type characters. So I'm curious to see how these teams are really going to just weave through and use everything this game has to offer to their advantage.
I have to agree with you there. I think that alts is something that we have to look at. And I think from your point, Gio, that it's going to come down to how creative these players want to be. Do they want to stick to like the classic, okay, let's put a Malga there, let's put a Juno there, let's put a Brig, and let's just see who cracks first under the ice. I think if we could see someone like a Hazard or someone in the back line, like we said, like a Lucio to give a little bit of speed. I know you mentioned that, Avalanche. I think that would be very interesting to not only change the pace of game, but also to set the other team off if they do decide just to play that like casual, like what we saw in like an Overwatch top league, like kind of comp. But as it looks like now, we are going to be going to Oasis for control. And I'll hand it off to you, Gio. What are you thinking now that we know our first map pick by Moths?
Yeah, Oasis, I'm thinking it's a map where you have like the sub maps have like very different styles, especially if you're comparing university to city center. City center is so much more open with large high ground. You open yourself to be able to play more kind of poke characters. Ash, still very strong choice, especially if you're going to be landing big dynamites. And if they're going to be playing something like a Genji, you can even use that as a defensive tactic. Keep that dynamite for when the Genji dives you. You can use it against them, and even if they're deflecting, they're going to be burning. You can take control of that high ground. On university, of course, much more narrow. You're more likely to see like a kind of death brawl kind of composition roll in. That's where like the speed characters, like you mentioned, like Lucio, Juno. Juno tends to take over mostly because Orbital Ray is just a really, really strong ultimate. Probably the best ultimate in the game still, even though they've like still like nerfed it here and there. And then on Gardens, you've kind of got the kind of combination, right? You could play either, but you've still got lots of high ground to play with. But Oasis, again, I know I'm really harkening on this, but there's a good Pharah map, right? Historically as well. I don't know why Farah's suddenly the hero that I really want to see, but that's why I've seen it recently, and I just want to see more of it.
Especially with the changes to the DPS passive, now you've got even more health taken away from the rest of the characters. Even if you land just a single missile, that can do so much to disrupt. Especially with Amalga, where you're going to see him sort of going up and down in his health pools. Just a little bit of healing taken off can be all that they need to secure that kill.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
and
Looks
Oh.
like the game is about to begin, folks.
Oh.
So we'll say goodbye to Swag and Retros for now as we go into our first game here on the bracket. Moths versus Nevs, starting on University. And oh, look at that. My frozen heart is beginning to warm. We have two hazards in play. The freaks are here looking at this splatter of goo. On terms of the support line, you've got kind of Juno and Lucio and Nevs. That's two speeds you can use. They're going to be able to maneuver very quickly, where you're going to be able to see Rare on the Kiriko be able to take an off angle by himself and create another point of pressure.
Oh, but Helmet Drake already goes down immediately. Nevs manages to get two off the map. We talked about the Lucio displacement, but it's the hazard that comes through immediately. Just about staying alive right now, managing to use the shield as Unto and Fista take down two, and it looks like it's just going to be a quick cleanup onto NRG.
Yeah, you can really see that Nevs is nice and warm and hazard. Landed that slash onto Snowdrop, stopping the follow-up there from a very nice pick. And they're still playing the Sojourn despite the Sojourn nerfs in the recent patch, so clearly they're warmed up on it, and you can see it there.
Yeah, Unsu immediately taking direct control here as Jazzy goes down as well to Nevs, really starting to like the look of this hazard even just in the early game. And we mentioned, you know, it is a 1-3 on Oasis, but really hot start here for Team Nevs.
And you can see how much they're rotating around. They've got the ability to do so with the two speeds. Nevs already with the ultimate, using it here in this fight.
Yeah, Snowdrop goes down immediately, and just using that protection that the block gives them just to stay alive and make sure that no one can get out easily. Down to, I think they're back up to 5 now with Snowdrop just coming back in. NRG going low, managing to get out using that deflect just to stay alive for the moment. Depsy close to the orbital rate, and we talked about how big of an ultimate that is as they now just play in a little bit of a poke off at the moment. Jinx trying to get in, get a bit more damage on, and maybe have as much of an impact as Nevs has been able to, as they just sort of back up to point here. Depsy has the orbital ray now if they want it. NRG going low, has to use the defect to stay alive, and the beat comes out. Both support ults for Moss as they try to at least get a foothold on this point. Snowdrop takes down the opposite number in Unto, but the beat comes back and the orbital ray. It could be all over on this first map for Moss.
Yeah, Fista going for the copy there onto Jinx meant that they had just a little bit more sustain, because they did have a member, go down. The orbital ray was matched with two support ults and was still holding its own. That's how strong of an ultimate it is. There's not even going to be a touch. Even if we did see the touch, energy had went down. There was no blades. You're hoping that the overclock pops off, but then you got the ult from Nevs. So far, yes, we're seeing the hazard, and we're seeing how much more Nevs can move about the map compared to Moths. And as we move away from the most single lane submap of Oasis, that's going to really mean that Moths are struggling, and that's why Rares already went onto the Juno. They're going to notice that we need to move about the map more. They're going to get that extra speed, and it means that they will have the orbital ray to be able to mirror it. I believe in one of the, I think it was the finals of the Asia region, a non-mirrored orbital ray had 100% fight win rate. So now that you have that mirror, you have the ability to actually fight against it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how strong that is. Team Nevs using that Sim TP, and both teams looking to gain a bit of high ground control now. Snowdrop just getting a bit of tick damage onto Nevs as Fista tries to get away. Doesn't quite manage to, though. Snowdrop, that's a big first kill onto the Echo. Takes them down with that headshot. Unto gets it back, but NRG takes down Nevs, and how strong we've seen that hazard. That might just be a fight win on its own. Jazzy and NRG clean up, and it looks like it's going to be a first capture of the game to Moss.
Yes, and you can see the difference between the Genji and the Echo. Echo, if you're caught gliding through the air, can get very easily caught up with one of those railguns, so that's what Fista's going to have to be careful with. But with those stickies and the beam, you have a lot more chance of you yourself bursting someone down rather than the Genji who's going to need to be following up on damage with the slash to do the same effect. So Fista just needs to be careful of when that railgun is charged.
Yeah, high ground trying to be taken, but Fista not taken down by the railgun, instead by the hazard, and Nev's onto the wall there. Just manages to get taken down by the thorns on it, and looks like it's going to be an easy cleanup. This map maybe a little more difficult to take back, as you've got the high ground to play from if you're on Moss.
Yeah, and there's just a lot more options for NRG as well on the Genji on this map to like climb around in this cubby that you see them near. And it means that Fista's already had to swap onto the Genji to match. Just can't quite get a good entry as the Echo, and has been the one that's caught out twice. Going into this fight, there are going to be a lot of ultimates in play here, mostly for Moffs though. Nevs are a little bit behind, so they want to take this fight fast, get the ultimates out, and go for another, or just wait for this sound barrier to be on so that they have a chance.
Yeah, with Nevs going down quite quickly, they lose their ult bank onto Depsy, and they don't see it. Fista decides to switch over to the Genji, trying to mirror, but doesn't work out. Snowdrop gets Helmet Drake as well, and down 2 already in this fight. Looks like they're not even going to need any ults, and they don't have any coming up for this next fight, which could be their last.
Yeah, I think it will be. That was a very clean fight from Moffs, not needing to use any ultimates. Now they have everything but the kitchen sink to throw at Nevs here. They really want to take Depsy down fast here though, because they don't want a beam fight.
They're going in early and using that orbital ray in immediately. Nevs tries to use the hazard ult to get in, and the beat comes out to at least prolong the fight as NRG uses the blade, but it's just going to be an easy cleanup. So many more ults for Moss, and yeah, Depsy doesn't want to touch that point.
Yeah, just a minor adaptation from Moffs. Having the Juno instead meant that they could just get there faster, and they just controlled that high ground really well. They had good initiations. They were always going for Fista on the Echo, eventually meaning that they had to force off of the Echo onto the Genji. And it's because Genji can just survive a little bit better, right? Has a deflect and can back up in time for the team to get around to them. But I really liked Moff's meta knowledge there. The macro understanding that we didn't need to use our fights in that second, our ults in that second last fight, meaning we had literally all of them for the last fight. And what are you going to do, Nevs? You have maybe a sound barrier against 5 ultimates? That was never going to work.
Yeah, we've seen Nevs where they were allowed to get so much in the first fights and get those first picks. They've not really been allowed them as much anymore, and that hazard is getting caught out a little bit. They've decided to go to the high ground, not trying to play point at the moment, and just controlling this, seeing how much it did for Moss at the start. Genji versus Genji on top of the point, and it's just a bit of a poke fest at the moment, neither team wanting to push in too much. Looks like they're trying to set up something, looking for Jazzy, looking for Depsy and Rare. Just trying to get those supports down, see if they can find them caught off guard. Untu gets the first, gets Jazzy, and now down a support. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, especially with how much speed Nevs can take into this fight over the top. Snowdrop goes down as well. It looks like it's going to be a first fight to Nevs. Yeah, and there we go.
Yeah, well taken fight there. Just controlling that central high ground meant that like both Fista and Nevs had much more room to decide when to take that fight. Moffs were just a little bit slower to the draw there, and they were the ones getting initiated on, and the first team that goes is probably more likely to get it. Especially if you kind of look at this, you're probably going to have an ult fight here with the beams, like if it's another prolonged fight like that one was. So it's eyes on the supports here to see who can get that up first, and try and take out the opposing Juno before the other one comes online.
Yeah, a bit of a more cautious fight again, just trying to control the point here as Nevs, making sure that they're not caught overextending like they were on the second point. Both hazards just using the block, but Fista goes in and is taken out by the block, just didn't seem to get that dash right to get out of danger. Snowdrop takes down Helmadrake, and it looks like it's going to be, I think this is potentially our first retake that we've seen in this fight, because
Yeah, and this is the entire map, yeah. It was
yeah.
100-1 for both of the upper sub-maps, so now this is just indicative of maybe the entire series here between these teams, as we finally have a point with 2 percentages on the board. And yeah, it will be a beam fight here, but more importantly, in the kind of micro plays, you're looking for where these hazards are placing these walls to try and block the other hazard off from their supports.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we're looking for is the beat is taken out immediately by NRG. I was about to say that Moss are quite far from their beat, but it doesn't matter when the beat doesn't come out in the first place. They're going to have that coming back in. Jinx takes down 2, and now it looks like it's a clean fight win. And how much Orbital Ray does for you, seeing that gone, and the car takes out Depsy, not wanting to give the ult charge back over.
Yeah, Nev's invested just a beam versus Mopsu, like, invested just another ultimate there, the blade, just to secure it. And it does mean you've still got the overclock here. I'm looking at the downpour, though, because the downpour is going to be really important for the follow-up on that overclock.
Yeah, it comes in immediately. Nevs takes down Jazzy. Snowdrop, though, is able to take back Fister, and that's a blade out of the fight immediately. Beat comes in, the beat taken out initially for Moss, because Jazzy is on the way back, trying to get there as soon as possible, and it looks like the beat has managed to turn this a little bit to the side of Nevs. Jazzy going low, able to just about get the beat off, almost saw an Ajax there, and the beat flip is helping a little bit. Jazzy goes down as well, no supports left for Moss, and it looks like this might be a one fight for Team Nevs, and potentially we're going to see about 80-80 by the time this next team fight comes through.
Yeah, you can see that Nevs is really like warm on this character. Has been putting in the hours. The micro plays there, like they're able to cover so much ground, especially by bunny hopping while in shift to cover even more. And then once they're in there, they can get the block to just like stay alive while the DPS follow up from the space created. Nevs is really good at just splitting up these fights into little zones that work for Team Nevs.
Yeah, you see they're getting a little bit cautious again, but the only ultimate coming in here is Fister's Blade. Snowdrop takes down Helmadrake though, and that's going to be a big opening pick onto one of the supports. Depsy though counters with the Orbital Ray. We'll see if Fister is able to get much more from this Blade. Doesn't look like too much at the moment. Untu takes down Jazzy in the meantime, and it's already on 99 on the point. Someone has to stay on this point, otherwise they're going to take a one-map lead, our Team Nevs. And looks like they are going to do just that, as even the Orbital Ray can't keep them alive for long enough. Jinx is going to try and touch point. Jazzy's there as well, but doesn't land too quickly. And if you're Jinx, you can't really do much in that situation. Overtime ticks out, and it is going to be a 1-0 lead to Team Nevs. Taking the map off of Moss, as they were the ones that decided that we were going to Oasis first, and hands them a bit of an advantage to where if we do go to a map 3, it will be Team Nevs picking.
Yeah, that's a great point. That was Morph's map pick, and Nevs won it out, so already on a back foot in terms of the map picking there. And we got to see a lot of how these kind of teams adapted to each other. Mostly, you saw Fister kind of got forced off of the Echo and didn't look to get too much done on the Genji on Gardens, but once they started to like get used to the new flow of gameplay there on the Genji, looking for poke, following up with Nevs, they were really coordinated in doing so, and they just had that just a little bit more communication with each other than it seemed like maybe Moths did with their dives, that it meant that they were more lethal with theirs, and they could follow up a little bit easier, is at least what I saw. Especially if Nevs, their micro play on hazards really clean. You can tell they've put in the hours, because their wall placement I really like. It's always coming in right behind the hazard, bouncing them forward, using that boot mechanic and damage. So far, Nevs, I'm liking what I'm seeing. You get the Scottish seal of approval so far.
Yeah, I did like the switch up from Moss just deciding to mirror the support backline. It seemed like that helped them on that second micro point. Definitely, they had a bit more sustain on there. And I don't know whether Nevs, especially with how well they had the first points themselves, maybe they got a bit overconfident going onto the second map. And just a little of those dives, they were caught out a little bit. Nevs being on the first to go down in a fair few of the fights that we saw on that second point, but they managed to clean it up, and where we saw both of the first two go complete 100 to 0, it seemed like we had a really good fight out on that third map, and I'm excited to see how that's going to continue through the rest of the maps that we have in the series.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, in terms of other maps, what we're probably going to be seeing now, because I imagine probably going to be seeing more of the same composition. It seems like that's it. That both of these teams came out with that composition with some deviations right from the get-go. But when it came to the maps, it was the more closed off map of University that Team Nev seemed to be just like best at, versus when there was a little bit more like flank routes on Gardens, where that's when Moths were like a little bit better. So in terms of map choices, I'm thinking what would be best for Moths is maps where there's a little bit more flank options for NRG to set up for the dive to follow up with their hazard. That's kind of like just off the top of my head based off of what I'm looking at here. I'm not sure if we have the next map yet, but we'll just go on the idea that we're going to be seeing more hazard.
Yeah, and I think definitely opening up the game where we saw Moss on their best map was when NRG was sort of starting to take over on that Genji, and I think they really need to play into that, because I think that's where their advantage is. A little bit of a negative for Team Nevs was just their ability to push forward with the Genji after they were made to switch. And especially retaking on that much larger site, they just weren't quite able to get the flow together. So we'll see if they really decide to play into NRG on that Genji, or whether they decide to go for a bit of a different comp, because we could see a full hard dive come through if they really want to go something like a Genji Tracer, or even, as we said about the Pharah, I think we're already in.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
And it looks like it's a Sigma versus Sigma initially. Snowdrop is on the Widow, matched by Untu on the other side. Fissa going down very low, deciding to go for the Venture out of the gate. And it looks like it's a jump shot coming through here. Sorry, just trying to get my bearings a little bit. Depsy, though, has bought out that Zenyatta, so Retro will be happy. And interesting to see these fights. They've let him get around the corner, but Jinx might be a little bit cut off here, just about managing to stay alive with the grasp. And instead, it's Untu who takes out Jazzy. So a little bit of a hold here for Team Nevs on the defense. Moss looking for a counter-attack, but not really finding anything at the moment. A second pick there onto the other support. Nice little jump shot by Untu, and looks like that's going to be them forced back for the moment.
Yeah, the idea here between the teams is you obviously have your Widowmakers, but the core of the team are both kind of a brawlier take on the Sigma comp. Sigma being very high damage, especially if they land combos with the accretion up close. The difference is, I do think I prefer the Mei, especially if you're going to have that Brigitte as well, because that's going to mean that Brigitte is going to get more options to proc Inspire and do damage in the brawl. However, if they get caught out by the Venture, that's a lot of burst damage and displacement onto something like a Brigitte that you really don't want, and then you're in out of nowhere. You're maybe even set up for the Widow of Untu.
Yeah, and if Untu keeps clicking heads, as we're seeing here at the moment, another stall using the Gravitic Flux takes down 2, and they're going to be forced back again. And really, Untu just kind of taking over these fights, really not allowing the space for Moss. And when you see your Baptiste go down early in a fight, you have the Brig, but there's not quite enough sustain to keep it up. Whereas with Depsy on the Zenyatta, you don't quite have as much sustain throughout the entire fight, but the amount of damage that you're able to get off is a massive amount. Snowdrop now trying to find Untu as both walls go up, and Jazzy taken down trying to get around the corner. Nevs finds Rare as well, so again, it's both of the support lines gone. Snowdrop gets a pick onto Untu, but it looks like it's too little too late, and they're going to be forced back again. Vista cleaning up the fight.
Yeah, and not to mention the Discord orb of it all. The extra damage applied onto that sole target that's getting bullied. If it's Jinx or if it's Jazzy, either one just not going to have a great time, because that Orb plus Venture just diving into your face with a big massive drill, not a great combo. I wouldn't recommend it, and not something that gives you next longevity in life. However, Gravitic Flux here ready from Jinx, looking to set it up with Snowdrop as well to try and get some headshots in the air. Needs to be careful of this accretion though.
Yeah, we'll see if Helmadrake is able to keep them alive, as well as Window is already up and the Venture ult comes through as well. Not really able to find anything. Snowdrop takes down onto again, so this could be a big pick. This is the main DPS that's causing them problems out of the fight. Rally comes through as well, but it's a huge Gravitic Flux! Takes down 2, Depsy gets NRG, Fister takes down Rare, and that looks like it's going to be all said and done. No one's going to be able to touch with 1 second left, and bit of a disappointment there. Especially Moss coming in again. This was their map pick. This was their chance to sort of get back into this, and especially as if Team Nevs win this, they're through. They're through to the FACEIT Community Cup, because top 4 teams get through to that.
Yeah, and if I told you just lost a first point attack on Circuit Royale, then told you, oh, by the way, you also had the ability to throw up a bunch of people into the air, then slam them down and do half their total health of damage, you'd probably be like, oh yeah, probably should have used that. So why didn't we? Jinx had Flux. Now, to break it into the micro, right, the tank mind game, I'm thinking Nevs knew Jinx had Flux and then was not using Accretion. And I think Jinx was like, my trigger for using Accretion, for using Flux is when I see Accretion. So now here's the mind games, folks. And Nevs won because Jinx did not use Flux there. They used the window to get around the corner, but the Flux follow-up was just not there. Perhaps they took too much damage before they could do it, but still, you'd be wanting to initiate there and try and take control because it was sub 1 minute, and that's not an easy hold. Look where they need to hold it to. That's 2 corners maximum.
Yeah, they're going to basically need to win every single team fight here. Jinx deciding to go with the Ramatra, maybe wanting to have a little bit more brawl. Nevs decides to switch over to the Queen as well. So it looks like it is going to be a brawly rush type of comp battle. Depsy also deciding to go with Iari here. So a lot of damage that can come through from the backline for Nevs, let alone Unto, who we saw how much they were able to do when they were on the defense, but Snowdrop takes him down initially. Looks like they could be caught out here. Jazzy goes down, so it's a 1-for-1 trade, and arguably losing the support here. I know the Lucio is able to get back quickly, but you really don't want to lose them early.
Yeah, and I do like the Junker Queen in general to just like flush out that high ground. Nevs is a very good Junker Queen as well, so it's going to work wonders for him. However, now that Jinx doesn't have form, they're in massive danger. Does get it back online just in time, but still goes down.
Yeah, Fister having to wait a little bit just to get healed up, but they're already at that first corner. They've now really got not much to play for, and someone's going to have to go in here and touch. Jinx is obviously going to try and get back quickly as possible, but they don't even touch. It's all gone.
Well,
Moss are the ones that take the map, and that's it.
That was a statement made. That was the hammer solution to glass. Team Nevs just smashed through them. Retro Swag, what are we thinking?
We got to see Zen. I'm hyped. But
yes,
we got to see some really interesting team picks going in on circuit. We got to see the Sigma, we got to see JQ, we got to see Ram, we saw a little bit of May, some Venture, and I mean, the Widow plays were just so beautiful. They were beautiful. It was just an exciting second map for Team Nevs, and I mean, they really pulled out all the stops.
They did indeed, and congrats to Team Nevs moving on now to the semis, I believe. They were able to come back and think of, okay, what did Moss do good in the Swiss that we weren't able to counter, and they played it and they read it beautifully. Like we were talking about how in that first game, I know we talked about it on the casting desk, we didn't expect it all to see Hazard, but we saw 2 And that was something that we had talked about because Hazard has incredible movement and can just get up to the high ground with ease. And that was able to help them out so well in getting that first map. And then we saw the second map. I mean, Retros, you mentioned it. Like the first, we saw two Sigmas going hand in hand, like as aggressive as they could be. And then to try to push it back, to try and take something off of Nev's, Moths often opted for the Ramatra, which you and me were both freaking out about. Like that was a great switch up to try and play the defensive. But another thing also is we saw that Widow play, and the jump peek into the air, get multiple picks off was just so helpful for this Nev's team to take this second round. And another mention also was that switch off to the Junker Queen. I didn't even expect that, but it played well for them to be aggressive, to play on to that point, because that's all they needed to do. They didn't have to worry about late game. They just had to worry about getting to that first point and taking the second game.
Yeah, and we saw that with the stats as well, how much in control Team Nevs were of Circuit, because so many of their players just had no deaths.
Exactly.
And when you're able to do that in a game, it's not going to be a good time for your opponents.
I know, the question is for Untu, why are you throwing 3 deaths? No one else died.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think, like you said, I like the idea of going the rematch with there as a defense. It's like, okay, we need to hold 2 corners here. Maybe the idea could have been to try and full hold. It's a tactic that can still work on Circuit Royale. So maybe they could have leaned into just a little bit harder, maybe commit just a little bit more to it, where they kind of did like a half commit. I think Nev started on Jungle Queen kind of maybe expecting a close hold to go for the brawl, and then after they saw what they had, they were like, actually, I could use this Jungle Queen to just flush out this high ground, just walk them forward, and it just continued to work as they apply pressure to the Ramatra, and then eventually that form will end, and then it's just a sad little robot who is going to back to spawn.
Yeah, the slow little collapse that they had, especially losing their Lucio initially in that first fight. Untu going down in that first fight looked like it was going to be a little bit of an opening, that they maybe could have had a slight chance, but as soon as you lose the Lucio, you're not able to speed your Ramatra back. And even in form, if you're blocking, you're not going backwards very fast. And especially with a Queen, how quickly they can get onto the back of you without the speed control of a Lucio or a Juno. You can just do it yourself, and you can shout yourself forward, and even as you're trying to get away on Ramatra, you can be knifed back, and yeah, not able to get away, and eventually that meant that they weren't even able to touch at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think Team Nevs realized it in that game 1. They're like, you know what? We gave Moths a bit too much respect. We were giving them a bit too much mileage. So going into Circuit Royale, just being able to snuff out every single push, every single attempt, and even trade with the ultimate so effectively, just sent them over the edge. And that's basically, I feel like that's the thing that tied that 2-0 for Nevs together.
I think another thing that definitely tied it together was a lot of positioning and a lot of space that was taken. I mean, we saw in both games that both teams played very aggressively, and they played a lot of characters, like we were mentioning, that Hazard, that Junker Queen, and especially a little bit of that Sigma as well, and Ramatra. Basically, all of the tanks were all up in front, trying to take as much space as they could to demand that the other team back off or give them that space. We saw that with the Hazard v Hazard, being able to get up to those high ground positions and then take the control of the site from there. And we even saw that in how that last match closed out, was the Junker Queen was just able to take space and deny Ramatra and the entire team the ability to back off with that knife and with that shout. It was beautifully played out from Nebs, and I congratulate them on that for taking the time to think, okay, how do we play against this Moss team? We had a close game, but this was a complete shutout in my opinion.
And talking about shutouts, we're going to do some shut eyes briefly. We're going to go to a short break before the next matchup. So don't go anywhere too far, folks. Refill your water or whatever beverage you have. And we'll be right back after a short 5 minutes.
The flags, Elohim with the melody, and he supply the bread. 70, keep it heavenly, everybody get the bread.
I got some bread and I got some cheese. I'm not impressed with none of the steez. Told her myself if it's up to me. Top of the list, I'm running the league, don't run into me. We not the same, the homie compete. I'm in the game, I'm pulling from deep. Lugging a loaf, this is everly. Another loaf, I've been burning toast. Let them tell it, I done done the most. I'm jumping, hopping, skipping, frogging, ribbon over all these gimmicks like I'm jumping rope. I done phoned it gold. Hit me with the light, I got right back to it. Future looking brighter than a diamond jeweler, and the reason why, cause I put God in my music. It's been like this, it's like Sawyer Way. Sauce on everything, bolognese. I've been legit since the 7th grade, and it's safe to say I control the wave, control my speed, control my pace. Cling to Jesus, hold the grace. Please believe I've been running this marathon, and my faith gon' hold the place. They saying I win again. Hard act to follow and tough pill to swallow, remind them of sentiment. This gift is a benefit, see I hate it, nigga sentiment. Ever see me chillin', plotting no millions and counting these Benjis? Just know I got them straight from him again.
J like the letter, I'm making several waves. I know the mission is same. I made a splash, now all of my passes last like running a race with Usain. I keep it coming like this is buffet. And if I'm stumbling, I'm in the graves. Never gon' fumble it. I get the bag and I run with it, gunning it, gunning it, gunning it, gunning it. Murray with the legs, all about finesse. I am not impressed. I don't need a rest, coming in with less, then you see the flags. Elohim with the melody, and then he supply the bread. 70, keep it heavenly, everybody get the bread.
And welcome back, folks, as we continue to see what teams will be qualifying for the FACEIT Community Showdown 2 for that $7,500 Renos that are on the line there. We are now still in the upper bracket. We are on our match that will decide our first team to secure their place in the grand finals. It is going to be Hypnos versus Team Nevs. So we're going to continue with Team Nevs here, but they'll have a new opponent of Hypnos. Avalanche, this is probably going to give them a little bit more challenge.
Yeah, we'll see if it's maybe a little bit of a step too far, but I mean, all we know from them going up against each other is that they've just had a best of one. So there's a lot on the line, and going into grand finals will be interesting. But yeah, Hypnos with the pedigree coming in, it might just be a little bit of a step too far for Team Nevs.
I honestly, I would, after seeing how Team Nevs played that first game against Moths, I would put my money on them. I think if they pull out the same kind of interesting comps that you don't necessarily see in like tier 1, and also just play with that same kind of caliber they were going on Circuit Royale, I think they're going to put up a real fight for Hypnos in this best of 3.
Yes, I think this is going to be a lot more interesting of a game. I mean, looking at Hypnos right now, they seem to be a pretty stacked team. They got a 61% win rate, says on FACEIT, and I would be interested as well to see what kind of team comps we're going to see out here. If we're going to see more Hazard, or if, like we mentioned at the start of this stream, if we are going to see that Mauga, which I think could still be in the back pocket of a couple teams here to play in the semifinals. But going to this, I think another thing that we just have to talk about is that positioning. We talked about it a little bit on the off time, that last map that we saw, it was hard to hold because there were certain window spots, there were certain high ground positions and other areas that like a backline could just get into and absolutely annihilate anybody on the defensive end, which I think is something we should also look at, as there have been a lot of map changes, not too recently, but still a little while ago. But it looks like now we are going to get a little bit, actually we're going to be getting a little bit of what last game was, I believe.
I am not sure where we are.
I believe we are watching Team Max Relax versus Lucky.
Yeah, so if you thought we were saying Hypnos, you fell for our ploy. We have duped you all. We are in control of what's happening. So yeah, we're starting on King's Row here. By the way, bye guys, on the death. You've just been shunted. We still have more Hazard gameplay here, right into the back line, as Fake Jake's just found Key Dog there, who by themselves, the Brick can't do too much against that much damage.
Yeah, I believe we have Team Max Relax on defense at the moment and Team Lucky Cat on attack. But yeah, Kylo Ren, we mentioned earlier about the Pharah, and already we're seeing it here and how much it did. Those first 2 early picks, just taking them down immediately. They're going to look to get Chief low. Finn's going very low as well on the side of Lucky Cat, almost down to nothing. Manages to get back and get healed up. Key Dog does the same. Chief looking for an opening, not able to do too much. And Thrower on the Zarya, able to take down Fake Jake, and now they've lost their Hazard. It could be all over, especially with a very high charge Zarya at the moment. Just able to walk through the team. Finn takes down Runiz. MV goes down to Chief, and it's just going to be Neilio and Kylo Ren backing out of there. They might be able to get a touch back in if Fake Jake really wants to go for it, but I think they might end up setting up at Archway.
Yeah, I think smart decision not to. Looking at this one, it's going to be impossible for the Zarya not to have full charge here. You know, you have such a pokey composition with an Ashe and a Pharah that Bubble's going to get a hit. It's going to be high charge. So that's something that Max Relax are just going to have to deal with and expect. As they go in here, they have isolated someone there, but again, they get the bubble, which is going to be the main thing defending against these dives. However, the bubble will pop immediately with a barrage. So let's see how Kylo Ren can use the Force to defend himself here.
Yeah, very big dynamite comes in immediately, and Kido just taken down. 3 of them go down to the barrage, and even the copy on the Hazard of Chief isn't able to do anything against that. 630 doesn't even make it out to their own spawn. That was an absolutely dominant barrage there from Max Relax.
Yeah, beautiful barrage, just caught them off guard, and just very clean as well, means that they don't have to use the downpour. They still have it for this next fight, which I think ideally you want to use downpour against the beam so that you can walk away from it, but with Neilio gone, you don't have the speed to do that.
Yeah, they can't quite get away, and just call out a little bit here as Thrower, but with how much damage they're able to do, doesn't really matter. Forces Fake Jake and Envy to back off. Now they use the downpour. Runiz gets one onto Finn with the dynamite, and Fake Jake just about able to stay alive as Kylo Ren takes down Chief. 630 with the turret gets Kylo Ren back, and they're having to back out a little bit. The Grav comes in, but just about able to save it is Nelio with the beat, and looks like it's a one fight again. Rune is putting in Bob there as well. Not sure if that was entirely needed, but
yeah,
they won out the fight, so can't really question it all that much.
It might have been a question of, do I know Nelio's back yet? Like, Nelio just came back to hit that sound barrier, so maybe Rounds was thinking, we need something here, so I can understand it, and in retrospect, probably could have held on to it. The wall coming out from 630 is going to split this up, especially against this Pharah. I mean, that they can be nice and aggressive with a lot more cover, but with this Kitsune Rush, you've got to back up. You can't fight into it.
Yeah, the speed that they have. It looks like the space is still being taken by the side of Lucky Cat, using the wall to just split up that Kitsune Rush a little bit, and just about able to get away as Fake Jake. They're going to set up back here with a little bit more. Chief now has the copy to be able to take someone, but it'll be interesting to see who they decide to go with. Keydog also quite close to the rally, but last time wasn't really able to do anything with it, with Kylo Ren decimating with that barrage. And with Stroa gone now, looks like it's just going to be a quick walk through. Fake Jake, this is the situation you want to be in on Hazard. You don't have to worry about the Zarya, and you can just try and get everyone you can.
Exactly, and to go back to your point about the copy, if I'm Chief, I'm probably picking something high damage rather than trying to go for a tank. Hazard will allow you to go for dives, but in terms of lethality and getting an ultimate in that dupe form, you probably want to get Barrage. You probably want to go for Kylo Ren, who is looking for their own Barrage right now in the back.
Yeah, and besides 630's teleporter, they don't really have a way to dive with it. Kylo Ren goes down immediately, but Fake Jake with the downpour takes down Sora. Envy takes down 630 as well. Fake Jake is out, and Keydog might look to go forward. There's the copy from Chief. Manages to get the downpour, and where they had no tank before, just manages to take down Rooney's and forces them back. They're going to be able to push a little bit further. We'll see if with 630 they're able to get Sora back into position as they look to take this second point.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one to fight back into with this orbital ray. Jake taking so much damage.
Yeah, just about able to stay alive. Kitsune rush in to try and defend it, but we mentioned how much damage and how much healing that orbital ray can do. Chief takes down Fake Jake, but Bob is there to stall for the moment. They have to back up for now and respect it. Looks like they're going to be okay. Just hiding in the subway and able to get back out. And Sora is close to another grab here. 630 also close to another wall. The beat comes in immediately, trying to counter the grab as they look to just about hold here. Fake Jake has decided to go to Malga instead. Kylo Ren taking down 2. Envy gets Keydog, and now looks like it's just going to be it. Sora not quite able to get back to point.
Yeah. Yeah, Nelio early beat was a risk, right? Because they knew Grav was coming up. However, by the time the Grav took in, the damage was done. The pressure was applied, and it was just the stack of cards falling over at that point. And I kind of want to talk about the difference between the Pharah and the Echo. So the Pharah obviously applies a much more consistent poke, very high damage, especially if it's a direct hit, versus the Echo, who can be much more of a duelist with the stickies if you're landing them, and the beam can very easily follow up. So it's kind of different styles here, but the kind of consistent poke is just working into Max Relax, because you also had the Ash plus the Pharah poking in, and then Hazard could just go in and follow up. Now, if the damage wasn't there, they could block and stay alive. So Max Relax had a really good composition, and I like seeing that from them. Lucky Cat, though, they are sticking with this Symmetra. Perhaps it's a personal choice, and I will not flame them for it. But if you are going to do that, I'd want to see better wall placement, because the wall placement we saw there wasn't the best in terms of making the most use of the map. You still had to go out of the barrier to get around the corner, the way that 630 had placed it. But even then, losing when you have a Juno versus a team that doesn't have a Juno, you do have to question if our beam placement is the best timed.
Yeah, I think it was a match of moments on that first half, and Lucky Cat definitely had their moments, but overall I think Max Relax were able to look like a little bit of the better team, at least for now. Keydog going a little bit low. The dive hit, Kylo taken down by Chief, but it is traded by Rooney's. And looking to play a little bit round Hotel. On the point is Sora, and going very low, has to use the bubble to stay alive, able to get healed back up by Finn, and already trying to get a fair amount of ult charge there onto the Juno, knowing how much that orbital ray can do. Sora takes down Fake Jake as well, so they're going to be without their tank, looking to just disengage from this fight for the moment.
Yeah, I think Doom is a little bit more committal than Hazard is. The block from Doom obviously recharges the fist, and you can use that to follow up or to get out. However, if you're in and you've misplaced your abilities, that block doesn't last very long compared to Hazard, who has the wall as well, just to like create space for Rounds, who's just on the high ground now, and there's no one stopping them.
Yeah, it looks like Lucky Cat are trying to play a bit more of a bunker, knowing that this dive is coming in. Keydog is their main line of defense to get that dive back away, but Rooney's that high ground unchallenged means that they can take down Chief already, and it's going to be a long way back. 630 going low as well, having to get off the point. They do have the orbital ray. Looks like they're going to try and turn things, and it is going to be a bit of a backup here. On the side of Max Relax. Not really able to do too much at the moment. Able to get one tick, but we'll see if that high ground is going to come to their advantage again.
Rudis is still fighting, was just in the back line. They have like put in the Kitsune Rush to try and just keep the fight alive, but it's really going to be on Kylo Ren trying to do anything with this.
Yeah, Rooney's went down early. Kylo Ren is able to take down 630, but that's not really the main target of this comp. Going down low as well. 1 HP getting out of there. Not for long as Chief copies and then takes him down with his own character. Able to do a lot here. And makes you question whether he would be better on Furrow if he's doing that much on the copy.
It does open that conversation. I think realistically that fight was just lost from the beginning. I think Max Relax decided to be a little bit goofy and keep their action in the back line when they got caught out. Now they've got the Bob to force onto point when they push, but Persian's a team that has Rally, and by the time the rally's over, they might have Beam. This is going to be a very tough 1 minute for Max Relax.
Yeah, Fake Jake able to get out 99 onto that downpour, now has it, but 630's already put up the wall, and it looks like it's a little bit better just to cover point. It means that they can play on the point itself. Able to back away at the moment. Downpour comes through, but it only connects onto 630, and the grab comes in onto Fake Jake. Able to nullify it is Nelio with the beat. Bob is also already in. Doesn't look like he quite made it to point, but it doesn't matter. Thrower goes down. Keydog goes down, Finn goes down, and finally it looks like it's going to be a capture here for Max Relax.
Eventually, they do get that done. They're a composition all about angles, all about different like corners of pressure, especially if that Kiriko Envy can play from different angles than just the main angle. Doesn't need to just sit there and heal. Lucky Cat, they're a little bit more committed to a single angle with this more brawl composition that they have. Now, with the orbital ray here, what I'm looking for is Nelio to hold on to this speed boost and wait for the beam. As soon as beam comes up, just speed boost out. That's what I'm looking Nelio to do here.
Yeah, they're going to try and get away. Not much charge from the Zarya means that they aren't able to get the pick there quickly. Kylo Ren takes down Chief as well. That's a big, quick pick. And now all you have left is this bunker. You don't have the flank to be able to help them. And Kylo Ren takes down Sora before that orbital ray is able to get to them. Finn trades out onto Kylo Ren, but really you lose the bigger target there. Thrower going down early. It's going to be a long time coming back. Chief is able to get back for the moment, but Envy tearing through, able to get down 630, keeps Fake Jake alive just about. Rooney's going low as well in that fight. 630 just about coming back now, and it means that they didn't have that teleport to get Thrower back into the fight.
Yeah, this map's cemented in the books here. You've got Kitsune Rush and the points right there. If you lose this one, it's due to a miracle on Lucky Cat's side.
Well, let's see if that miracle can happen. Doesn't look like it. Thrower goes down immediately, followed by Keydog, and it looks like this fight is already over before it's begun. Not even able to touch the point in the end, and Team Max Relax takes King's Row as the first map.
Yeah, and I did like the style in which they did it. Very heavy poke, but with a character on tank, you can just dive in and follow up. Especially with King's Row being such a good Pharah map. It's like a playground for a Pharah. There's so many options for a Pharah to even just stand high ground, never even using their jets, being able to just find those really annoying angles. Plus, getting Barrage, even a trade for Barrage is what you're looking for usually, best case scenario. But to get like a triple with Barrage and just clean up and stay alive, that just shows that you have a level of talent on the Pharah that is going to really help, especially as we go away from the hybrid game mode.
Yeah, and when you're looking at that bonker comp for the side of Lucky Cat, it works to some advantages, but against the Pharah, you have so much splash damage against them. And if you're able to knock one of them out of the way, you must love to see that on a hazard, just able to jump in on a low damage target and take them out. And once they're gone, you're in a 4v5 for the rest of the fight. Maybe it's interesting to see them not wanting to play the Juno. And instead going for the Lucio, but I don't think they had too many issues in terms of speed.
Yeah,
and the amount of damage that they had difference. Rooney's doing so much damage, of course, with the dynamite there on the Ash.
I mean, yeah, just so much output here from the side of Max Relax, where you still have like outstanding players on the other side as well. Looking at like meta, like 12-7 in terms of like KD, like not too bad, right? But still, like the amount of damage, right? That's what we're talking about. Like, yes, Fin Fun on Lucky Cat 15k, but the total amount of output from this, like overall, it was a very pokey composition where you could kind of like dive in, you could kind of like brawl in, you could kind of like hybrid it, but really those two DPS were just applying so much damage. And what damage is its pressure, and what pressure is, it pushes you to use a cooldown. As soon as you use a cooldown, values gained, and that's what happened there. Max Relax were able to just force out so many cooldowns early on that the rest of the fight was kind of like up to them to just clean up.
Yeah, and they did have a little bit of a stall on that first capture point, so it'll be interesting to see where Lucky Cat decide to go, especially with this bunker comp, if they can maybe go to a control map and have of course that will depend on winning the first fight, but if you win a fight, that's where that bunker comp gets its real advantage, because then you decide how you can play that defense. And I think this team comp is a bit more defensive than it is attacking, and that might be why they struggled a bit more on their attack than their defense.
Well, if FACEIT's not lying to me, then it looks like we're probably going to Colosseo. And thinking about how that's going to work out, right? Colosseo has very long sight lines. However, you still have good flank routes. So that does mean that, someone who plays Echo may be more likely to play something like a Genji instead, go for a bit of a flanker character. You have that ability, but still, that initial choke where the bot starts is a very narrow sight line and will still work very well for this pokier style. And that's what you can see Kylo Ren sticking to the Pharah. Now, yes, Sojourn got nerfed in the recent mid-season, but still a good choice, right? Especially if you've got a slow-moving tank target like Zarya to build up your railgun and then use it on a squishy like Finn, who, yes, when Juno isn't speeding around and is in the air, is a very easy target for someone like Runas who can land their shots.
Yeah, interesting to see the Winston on Fake Jake as well, going for a bit more of a conventional dive, as we say, just more conventional in the fact that we haven't really seen Hazard played too much in a competitive setting. Just looking to poke each other out for the moment. Chief keeping Fake Jake at bay, just going just below half health, no armor anymore. And those stickies take him down low, just about able to get healed up. MV doing most of the work on healing, of course, with the Lucio looking more to speed around. Fake Jake able to just get a little bit of a push on the cart, but this is going to be a very cagey first few fights to see if they're going to be able to do too much. Just about staying alive as Chief. They're able to get out just. Keydog, I think, coming through with a nice little packet of health just to keep him alive, but not for long. Kylo Ren takes down Chief, and now Keydog looking to cement things. Fake Jake able to be taken out, and is the tank for the Echo, but as Finn goes down as well, they've only got Keydog to be able to stabilize. 630 though takes down Kylo Ren, and it is a very cagey fight at the moment, just back and forth, losing 1-1. Envy playing things a little bit dangerous there on the Kiriko and the low ground, but
they have been, yeah.
Back away.
They've even been TPing in with their Winston as well on dives to really cement it. It's a risky playstyle, but given the output that they're giving Lucky Cat, it is working out alright, because they're going to have Kitsune Rush for this next fight.
Yeah, it looks like the main target here for Fake Jake is going to be Chief, as really the only one that's outside of this bunker. Fake Jake going very low, forced to use the Kitsune, and Max Relax, and it looks like just about the sustain is able to keep up. Very close to going down there. The grab gets put in as well. Really unfortunate there for Sora, just not able to follow up on it, and the team kill means that the first real control of the objective goes over to Max Relax.
Yeah, I'm not surprised for swap there, even in terms of like bubbling against a diving Winston. Like, you're just kind of sitting there like a plank of wood, so going for the Diva means you can be a little bit more reactive as well with that peel, and if you've got better peel, the rest of your team's going to be more likely to take Fake Jake down. Not in primal mode though.
Yeah, they do have a lot of ults coming in. Kylo Ren with that barrage that we saw last time, able to do a lot with it before, but will they be able to again? Chief has the copy as well. Be interesting to see what they target. Rooney's taking the high ground as the bot just about gets stopped just before that first checkpoint, obviously meaning that the forward spawn doesn't happen. Rooney's takes down Chief immediately, not able to make use of the copy, and that's a big ult out of the way. Not able to do anything with that. And now the barrage comes through. Kylo Ren gets down 2. Fake Jake takes down Finn, and it looks like they are going to be able to get the forward spawn with a little bit of a stall from Sora, just taking the bot away for a little bit, but I think it's going to be too little too late.
Yeah, and you're looking at this, you've got the rally for the next time Fake Jake dives in, right? But again, Envy so quick to building up these Kitsune rushes because of the sheer like damage is being applied. You've got Cassidy here, still going to be good at like taking down like a carry or something, and also forcing out the Pharah, but also that upfront damage against the Winston with Fan the Hammer.
Yeah, Rooney's taken down low and taken out immediately. Envy also low on the Kiriko, doesn't quite have the Kitsune rush, and no stabilize from Nelio. Both supports down. This looks like it's going to be a quick team fight coming back, and I like the switch to cast here.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit more variability to play with, and yeah, you're a slow-moving target, especially if you've used your roll for a dive, especially with a Pharah who can move in really quickly horizontally these days, since the new ability was added. Oh, very close to taking Chief out there, but Lucky Cat, they have the ultimates here to try and change the tides, especially with this rally.
Yeah, the rally comes in immediately. Fake Jake almost stuck there, just about manages to get away. Thrower trying to follow up, and now to stabilize is the Kitsune rush. Looks like they're just going to back off and kite this for the moment. Keydog, maybe a little bit stuck, just about okay. Chief is very low there in the backline, able to stay alive, gets the burst of healing. 630 takes down Rooney's as well, and just to stay alive here, Chief goes for the Winston. Maybe not able to get too much out of it, especially as you're building only to a primal and not to a massive ultimate like the barrage, but able to just use it to calm down things a little bit. Fake Jake maybe a bit too overzealous with the primal, and the beat not able to save him in time, and feels like a little bit of a waste. They do also have the high noon to be able to use that on, and I think I'd rather that. Chief maybe getting a little bit over aggressive, traded out by Thrower, and a bit more that they're able to do. Fake Jake's gone over to the Hazard again as well.
When you don't have the forward spawn and taking a trade when you're like trying to achieve it, that's really rough, and there's a massive barrage. Takes out Finn, but that's all you really need. Hello, the orbital did come out.
Yeah, and Thrower able to get 2 back, and Nelio down. Fake Jake manages to pick up 630, but Chief also deciding to switch onto the Tracer, being sick of the Echo now. Rooney's takes down Keydog, and now with no supports, I think Thrower's just going to be stuck in a bit of no man's land. Chief's going to be able to dash away, but not sure about Thrower here.
The real question is, how's 6:30 doing now that it's 7:30 here in the UK? Are they holding up? Can we get a check? Runes is going to have the overclock here. This has been something that Runes struggled to get value with the last time, but now is going to be a lot of pressure, especially when they're going to have their forward spawn here. And with this Hazard just jumping to their face, making space for you, Runes has a lot more options in how they want to use it.
They do have the ability to combo it with the Kitsune Rush that's now charged. Envy going down really low initially, but just about able to get out. 630 maybe trying to find a high noon play, but has held on to this for quite a while. Rooney's does get one, makes use of the ult, takes down Keydog, and Chief goes down to Fake Jake as well. No way to get out for the Tracer. And Nelio taking down 630 as well. It feels like they're holding on to this high noon. They don't want it quite to be 12 yet.
I know they're really pushing time back, but time comes for us all, especially if that bot is coming to the end of the map. We need to see some movement here from Lucky Cat. They've been a bit too reactive. In fact, Thrower even back onto the Zarya now that they've seen the Hazard to try and build up that damage again, just like on King's Row.
Yeah, Keydog deciding to switch over to the Kiriko, but so much damage comes through onto Thrower as soon as that bubble bursts. And Kylo Ren taking down Keydog, now on the Genji. Chief trying to find something for this pulse, but it looks like it might be too little too late. Malga now here, and it looks like they're throwing out everything, trying to see if something sticks. Chief trying to find a pulse here, not able to find anything yet, has to recall, just about gets away. Finn in the background takes down Rooney's, and doesn't find the pulse. Fake Jake punishes him for it. Thrower just about trying to stabilize here, uses that extra health and forces out the beat here from Nelio. Fake Jake, though, instead takes down 630, not able to get anything from that high noon after holding on to it for so long. And this team fight looks like it's won again. And with how close that bot is, I don't think anyone's going to be out to touch.
Yeah, when you're throwing things out randomly, the question is it going to hit the wall or the fan? But unfortunately for Lucky Cat, they've hit the fan and it's all over the place. That's a Blade, that's a Kitsune Rush, and that is all that she has written here. Max Relax looking like a team that really understand how each other play. They've got a really strong Pharah player in Kylo Ren, who even we saw some Genji there at the end, and they will be moving forward into the finals. Retro Swag, welcome back. Watching that game from the backseat, did you notice anything you enjoyed?
Kylo Ren was the biggest factor in so many of those team fights. I mean, I think it was a 3 or 4 man barrage on King's Row. We were just in shock because we weren't tracking the Pharah, and then out of nowhere, the entire kill feed was decorated, and the entirety of Max just looked like they had such a strong grasp on their characters, and as a team, just completely able to control these games. And I mean, ultimately, they were the ones who came out on top, so clearly they knew that it was working.
Yeah, Max Relax, they just had a better read on the game. They understood how they had to play it, and you and me talked about that a little bit, Retros, about how they were using that Winston to try and get into that backline, cause a little bit of a skirmish, which then gave the Pharah ultimately the opportunity to use that barrage to get multiple kills with it, and that helped the team a lot. And I think you guys also talked about it a little bit on the desk, is that damage is crucial out from both teams, and Max Relax were just able to push it as much as they could. They were always on the aggression. They also always escaped with their lives. I saw multiple times that Winston had just barely lived off of trying to escape the grasp of Lucky Cat, and to no avail. Sadly, they could not pull out the win here.
Yeah, Envy and Fake Jake played it close a number of times, but they were able to get out. I think what really says something about the way that they played the game is some of the picks were coming through for Lucky Cat, but they weren't really big ones. They were taking down the DPS, but when you've got such high sustained supports able to keep up your tank and you're not taking those supports out, there's not really much you can do. you've got to see if you can get that healing stock, because as soon as the healing's gone, there's not really much else that the other team can do in order to stop you from just barraging through them like that for Kylo Ren. But the amount of picks that Kylo Ren and Rooney's were both getting onto the supports of Lucky Cat, I think that's where they really shine. They were able to take those advantages and just snowball through.
And to talk about the supports for a minute, between both maps, Envy had only 3 deaths. Between both King's Row and Colosseo. So just being alive is such a crucial thing. And I wish me and my teammates in my comp games knew how vital it was to stay alive. Because just being there, you can apply the pressure with even just healing, right? As a healer, if you're alive, you're naturally going to be supplying more healing to your team, keeping them up, as well as if you're a Kiriko especially, you're going to be on an off angle and you're going to be able to apply actual damage pressure and force out cooldowns or force a mistake. Envy did really well on Kiriko there in Colosseo, and I just feel like Max Relax have a really well-rounded team actually, and going into the finals where of course they'll be facing Hypnos, you're thinking maybe this team could actually take a map. Maybe this will actually be a competitive showing between the two.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see how the two teams face up against each other. And Envy really proved us wrong, because at the start of that Colosseo map, we were saying they were sort of playing a little bit close, playing a little bit fast and loose, especially with where they were setting up as the Kiriko. But obviously, with the TP able to get out, and that is a really big statistic, just able to stay alive on the Kiriko. Only 3 deaths through 2 maps is a huge amount of support. And as a tank player, you love having that behind you. You love seeing, oh, I've still got healing. The other team doesn't. Great win for me, because my Kiriko has been able to keep themselves alive and keep themselves in the fight, and that's all you really need to do on support. That is your main goal.
Andrews, and just to cut in really quick, because we were behind last time, but we will go for a quick break. So just a quick 5 minutes before, and of course the next match is the final match. Both the teams will be making it into the FACEIT Showdown, Community Showdown 2, but the winner gets 100,000 FACEIT points. So there is still something to play for here beyond getting to the next step in the tournament. So we'll be right back, folks, in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere too far.
Look, how many times did I match this work? Feel like 10,000 days. Bros in court with the A-list model. Why's that? Cause she breached the NDA. Just had a call with Irish Jack. Man don't rap but he lets it spray. 2-leg ones came through, they're twinning, so I'm gloved up like Crane. Sweet one just wanna waste my time, babes. What's the ETA? I like my girl on time, that's period. Nothing but stress when you say you're late. Girl, you can get new nails and bags, but when I call cabs, this underlay. I know it ain't my name on that plastic arm, man, stop acting babe. Yeah, what? Man, snowflake, bitch, you like 10 WAs. Future plan by your mum and dad, but she's out here testing fate. Old man when her son-in-law, he's got brains. She wanna break the law, my rock chains. Growing up, put her on the right road. Now man, she's out here mad on the mains. Ayy, bare clout and nicotine that you're craving. Out in libertine, feeling faded. Bare problems, man, you've been creating. When I'm in the studio, when you call my phone, you don't stop, man, you got no patience. Tryna make that paper, money come first and pleasure come later. I showed her love, now she thinks she a part of me. Going mad on my gram, babe, don't be a drama queen. Bad to give a man city girl vibes, but I'm in the field like Harlan G. She want Prada, shoulda do nada, man. That one go far with me. High for the A, but I sing to a girl and take her away. Something like Drake, like if you're hearing this now, by now it's already too late. Calling me out, come to the clash, your girls, they're promoting my mixtape. Big mixed race, big boy with a belly, I'm heavy, see you done know me overweight, yeah. Yeah, she what a man bought me, committing that's unrealistic. Nah, ain't part of my plan, see me, I'm done with these bitches. Saying this year's all about money, fuck the matrix and its glitches. You Used to see her drive my whip, but I guess my perspective shifted. See, she what a man bought me committing, that's unrealistic. No, I ain't part of my plan, see me, I'm done with these bitches. See, this is all about money, fuck the matrix and these glitches. Used to see her drive my whip, but I guess my perspective shifted. I showed her love, now she thinks she a part of me. Going mad on my gram, babe, don't be a drama queen. Bad to give a man city girl vibes, but I'm in the field like Harlan G. She want Prada, shoulda do nada, man, that won't go far with me. I showed her love, but I don't really trust these hoes. We ain't on the same path in life, so I leave that one for the roads. For the streets. She acting like she unique, next week she'll open up for the bros and then act like nobody knows. I showed her love, now she thinks she a part of me. Going mad on my gram, babe, don't be a drama queen. Bad to give a man city girl vibes, but I'm in the field like Harlan G. She want Prada, shoulda do nada, man, that won't go far with me. I showed her love, now she thinks she a part of me. Going mad on my gram, babe, don't be a drama queen. Bad to give a man city girl vibes, but I'm in the field like Harlan G. She want Prada, shoulda do nada, man, that won't go far with me.
Thanks for showing me what love can do. It broke me into two. Should've never believed you when you swore your love like it's your truth. But left out of the blue, now I got nothing to lose. I hate that I still hear your voice. All through the night, you're still calling my name. I hate that I'd do anything to feel it all again. I wanna let you be the one to go and bring me down. You could shoot a bullet through my heart and make me drown. Take that easy cue, I know it's pitiful somehow, but I'm still in love with you, and I do it all the deja vu. Don't know where it started going south. I stood with my eyes closed underneath your whole shadow. Thought that you were meeting me halfway, but I found myself inching to you as you're leaving. Got me stuck in a high, creating a show. You ran out of love and I didn't know. Could never let you go, unless my heart turned to stone. This can't be the end of our road. I hate that I still hear your voice. All through the night, you're still calling my name. I hate that I'd do anything to feel it all again.
And then there were two remaining teams here in the grand finals. Only one person will walk away. Well, only one team will walk away with 100,000 FACEIT points. And of course, let's be honest, the ego of being able to say that they won in the qualifier to go in with as much momentum as they can towards the actual FACEIT community tournament too. Now, though, it's Ex Oblivione's partner team. It is Hypnos. We've been talking about them. We even thought we might see them, but now we definitely will see them up against, as we saw, the team of Max Relax. How are we feeling about this one? We'll get into predictions in a bit, but this, I think, will be a make or break for Hypnos. Will they sweep the tournament or will they get some resistance?
Yeah, I think for Hypnos, you're definitely looking to come in as they were the team that, you know, you look at all the teams we've got here. They're the most recognizable one. They're the one that's a big name in this tournament, and they really want to be putting that right and putting themselves straight and going, yeah, we are the big team. We're that for a reason, and we've come in and we swept the tournament. So I think they are going to be looking to try and sweep here. But from what we saw from Max Relax, they had some of a good showing, and they look pretty good in that last map.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we need to count Max Relax out here. They really they were playing as a team. I mean, even going for maybe a little bit less traditional comp with the Winston Farah on push, going into a team like Hypnos, where you do have that partnership with a very recognizable, notable team, that just is more drive. That just gives you more reason to keep striving for that victory. And hey, at the end of the day, if you do come out on top, you get to say, I beat a team like Hypnos, and that just gives you even more of a momentum push going out of these qualifiers.
Yeah, I feel like in this grand finals, it's Hypnos has everything to lose and Max Relax has everything to gain. We've seen Max Relax play right now, as we just saw that last game, a 2-0 finish, beautifully done by them. And we mentioned, as you said, Retros, those unorthodox team comps with the Winston and the Farah, which I know, Gio, you were very happy to see those Farah barrages coming out. And I think that's something that we can expect in this next game, in this best of 5. I think if Max Relax keeps bringing out those like unorthodox, very creative kind of team compositions, it could throw Hypnos off. But it's also notable to mention that Hypnos has won all of their games so far 2-0, same as Max Relax. So it seems like we could have a 3-0 here. I would love to see a game 7. Not to say that I want this to go on as long as we can, but we want to see as much Overwatch as possible here today on the grand finals. And I hear we're going to get some teams right here out of Hypnos and Max Relax. Gino, I'm going to pass it off to you to talk a little bit about what we see right now.
Yeah, so of course, Max Relax, we've seen this team just play. We're quite familiar with them. Hypnos, though, they're a team that have, second place in the Expert League recently. They're a very strong roster. They have a great support as a team being part of that kind of EXO brand, as well as, very good access to smart coaches that have just performed very well. So they're already in high performance mode. They're already in the we're battling in the Expert League. So this is a team that's like primed and ready just to like continue that on and just keep rolling there. And if we want to do predictions really quick, I will let my biases flow through me. I fully predict that Hypnos are going to be winning here 3-0. I'm predicting the clean sweep for Hypnos.
I think one of the really big things that you've got to do when you're, I mean, let's face it, Max Relax is the underdog coming into this, which means they don't have anything to lose. And we said earlier about how when you don't have anything to lose, and especially when you're against such a practiced team with coaches and all of the support they have at Hypnos, they've trained, they've scrimmed. They're probably seeing a lot of the same team comps. What you want to do is you want to come out and hit them with what you're strong with and hit them with what you're not expecting. The only prac that they have against this team, unless they found them in these players in like a lower down seeding event at some points, is the Swiss game that they played against them earlier, if they ended up playing against them, and the only other thing that they have to go of is the last 2 games that we just saw. They have the same amount of knowledge as, about this team as we do, because we've only just seen 2 maps. So where you're a team that likes to prac and has the opportunity to do so, has the coaching staff to be able to set you up against these teams and maybe upset some of the bigger teams, some of the even bigger names than Hypnos. I expect they probably prac against EXO as well to some aspects. But when you're trying to knock off those teams, sometimes when something comes out that you don't quite expect, you fall down a little bit. And I think I'm going to predict a 3-1. I think Hypnos is still definitely the favorite, and I think they will be able to win it through. But I can see Max Relax using something that they just really don't expect. And with where you're so much of a coach team, it's quite difficult to change so much on the fly.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with a lot of what you said. However, my own personal bias of I love watching Overwatch. So while I do think that Hypnos is going to be the team that does come out on top, I think we're going game 5. I think it's going to be 3-2 Hypnos, because I feel like a lot of Max Reacts is kind of maybe unconventional picks are going to send them maybe for a loop, and it's going to force Hypnos to switch maybe to a character that they're not entirely used to, and that's where Max Reacts is really going to shine and be able to exploit maybe some of the weaknesses that Hypnos could experience. But they are a seasoned team. They have that kind of practice. They have that kind of experience. So it just depends on how many surprises Max Reacts can keep uh, using against Hypnos to really dent their armor and come out on top.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very interesting. I mean, we are going to see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to Circuit Royale, we're going to Escort, and this is going to be pretty interesting. We have our top 2 seeds, I believe, out of the Swiss right now, fighting off against each other. And, you know, Retros, my newfound NA brother in arms, I have to agree with you there. I think we're going to a Game 5. Gio, I think you are the more experienced on the casting desk here, and I fully believe that Hypnos can take this to a 3-0 series, but I want to see as much Overwatch as I can, and I'm predicting a 3-2 in favor of Hypnos.
Hey, stranger things have happened.
I am very biased. I literally have a Hypno sticker, so there might be some bias in what I've been saying.
Strangest things have happened, though, and especially in a tournament like this, if you're going to prove yourself, going up against a team like Hypnos on in a competitive environment, with it being broadcast, you can go to any team that you want, and if you've performed well, even not as a team, but if you as a player have performed well, you have something really big to go to an org and say, look, this is what I'm coming in with, this is what I did against a team that's a recognized name, and this is what I think I could bring to your team. And you have proof of that. So I think Max Relax have so much that they're going to be able to gain from this, even if it's just experience of playing up against a higher team like Hypnos.
100%. Just very quick, so in terms of Hypnos' players, Sleek, Lars, and Volta, they were all on the roster for that expert league. Neliozu also isn't an active roster member anymore though, and Skitza, I'm not too sure where they're coming from. I don't recognize them in terms of like the roster, so it is mostly the core. It is mostly the core of Hypnos, so it is like the expert league Hypnos that I had just played. So it's not just people using the name; it is those players that are under that umbrella. But you are so right when you say like this is a chance for players to really step forward. Like, I mean, we saw that from FinFun earlier in Lucky Cat, even though like Lucky Cat didn't win, FinFun played very well. So you still have like that individual ability to be like, oh, look at me, I can play well. And that's one of the reasons why you play in these tournaments, especially with OWCS next year having relegations and promotions at the top tier FACEIT. Now is the time for tier 2 players to take that step to be like, no, I am not a tier 2 player, I'm a top player.
Yeah, and we'll see that in a second as me and Gio are going to step away and we're going to leave you with Retros and Swag, as I think we're about to get underway.
Indeed we are. We're heading into game soon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're excited at home. I hope you got your popcorn. I hope you got your hot cocoa, whether you're in the rain or in the snow. We're about to get to this grand finals, best of 5. Let's see who can win it. Is Hypnos going to take it, the favorite of the cast desk, or are Max Relax going to be able to come back, the underdogs in this matchup, and take it right under Hypnos' grasp?
Honestly, regardless of which way this goes, we are going to see a very interesting game. Near mirror comps, except you got Volta immediately on the brig, and I can't even start rambling on because already we have Sleek picking off Roonies.
Indeed, and now it looks like a Sigma at Sigma matchup here. Let's see how this can play. We saw this out of, I believe, Max Relax before, going up against another team. Let's see how they can fare against Hypnos. They played pretty well, I think, on the last time. Let's see what can happen here. We have a Widow looking for some picks, and as we mentioned before, they have that high ground to take advantage, but Roan is going to get that Widow out of that position, and it looks like they're going to keep pushing up.
These team fights are going to come down to 2 things. Number 1 is going to be Sigma shield management, and number 2 is going to be Widow angles. However, Sleek is able to take maybe an off angle, but it looks like Rooney's immediately swapped off to go to Echo, and that makes a lot of sense. You have a lot more freedom to kind of dive the targets you want, but it does not matter because Skitza is going to pick you off and maybe find another one onto Envy. That's 2 for him, pushing Max Relax back into their spawn. And it forces the hard reset, it forces some time to be used, but you did force out Neziolu's apologies if I'm saying that wrong. You forced out the back wall, so it's just you just reset and start anew.
Indeed, and I think Skitza and Sleek are going to be vital there, as you mentioned. Like that Widow in the backline is going to be deadly, and as we saw right there, Sleek taking down Roniz. What beautiful way to put some aggression onto the side of Max Relas, and Skitza getting into that backline as well. But we're going to see Sleek is coming back at it. He's going to take one down, looking to take another as the Alari flies into the air with her ultimate. Can he find it? Can he get it? He does. Taking 2 down, but Fake Jake is there to answer back. Now we're seeing a rally out from the Brig on the side of Hypnos. Can they push back against this Max Relas? Can they do it? The Sigma is almost dead. They're going to take her down, and now it looks like Max Relax are going to have to reset off of the aggression shown out from Hypnos.
One by one, the backline of Max Relax fell down to Sleek's sights. You cannot peek any angle against the Widowmaker, and especially one of Sleek's level. I mean, Fake Jake, he was the tank last game, opting to go to Genji. Now Sleek finds 2 with Skitza picking up the bits and pieces. And I mean, the DPS line of Hypnos is making clean work of Max Relax right now. This BAP and this Brig are keeping them alive, and Lars on the Sigma. I mean, you just got to do your part. You just got to take that damage. You just got to whittle them down to let your DPS do the most. And then come out big with these ults, and now you go from here, and it's going to be an ult party.
It is indeed. We see Skitza and Sleek taking out names from the side of Max Relas. They're going to keep this aggression on, as it looks like the Sigma is just going to escape with his life. He's going to take Ronin's out as well. Liars living with his life so far. And this team has so far thrown a lot of protection on their backline and their front line. We see that Genji getting in there to be able to kill a lot of people in the backline on the opposing team, and then Sleek as well, absolutely monumental on the team. But I love this Winston switch, a character that could get into the backline that could mess up Sleek and possibly force Skitza to get a little bit further back. But now we see a couple more ults out. Looks like the Genji's gonna pop his ult. Genji finds one. Can he find a second? Looking for the second. Does he find the third on the Winston? He's gonna have to back up now, but the rally is there to support him, and now they're gonna keep pushing.
I mean, you did your job with that Genji ult. You found your 2, and you created that space for your team. You allowed them to win that team fight so seamlessly, push it into overtime, and Hypnos are going to shut down Max Relax's push. You're barely able to get it under that first bridge, and an extra headshot to send it home, sending a message and sending you to the attacker side. Hypnos, they showed the dominant hold they were able to have right there. And now it just begs the question, are you going to keep that same 5-character lineup you had? Because it worked so well on defense. Can you see those same results on offense? Or are we maybe going to see a Hazard? Are we going to see maybe a little bit more backline pressure like a Pharah or an Echo out from Sleek? But honestly, you stay Widow, you pick them off one by one, the cart's going to push itself at that point.
Yeah, I don't think Sleek should change up as well. He's too, on a quote on words, he's too sleek with it. He can get too many kills on the side of Max Relax. And I think, as you mentioned, a good pick here out from Hypnos would be Hazard, or what we saw in those earlier games, a pick like Junker Queen, a character that can just attach themselves to the push point and just push it as much as it needs to. It doesn't need to go far. They were only able to push it about 75 meters, which is enough, I think, for Hypnos to be able to push. And now as we see some picks out, it actually looks like they're not opting for that Ramatra. But Max Relax, we saw this out, I think, from another team on the defensive side here who just had to keep it around the corners. They're opting for the Ramatra, which I think could benefit them in this long run.
I think the Ramatra is going to aid a very good hand. You have the Zen BAP too, which is just going to double the amount of damage you're going to be able to put up. I mean, BAP is basically a third DPS if you know how to play him, and clearly Volta knows how to play him if you are here in Grand Finals. Skitza on this off angle, you have the double sniper. That gives you so much room to work with, and with Lars up in the front, I mean, Sleek's going to make the most of it right now, going down to Fake Jake on the Sombra to provide a lot of that pressure. But Max Relax look like they're up in this fight. Maybe they're showing signs of life.
Yeah, they were showing a bit of signs of life, but it looks like Skitza is there to deny it, and they're going to get closer and closer to taking this game and taking the first of this best of 5. I think it was good to mention, and you did mention it, we have 2 snipers on the side of Hypnos because they're not looking to go far. They just need to take a couple bodies out. They need to take the space, and Max Relax are trying to counter back with Fake Jake on that Sombra. I think is a great pick to counter out that Widow, and especially the Hanzo as well. But now it looks like Ronin is going in the backline. He's going to try to get some picks if he can. Lars is up in the air. He's going to take one with Skitza as well. Sleek is close to follow. And it looks like Hypnos are going to be taking this first game.
I mean, that's all it took. 2 team fights and some great picks for Hypnos to be able to push through and claim that first map. Circuit Royale is definitely a very potent map. It is honestly, I wouldn't say it's attacker defender side. It is whatever team is stronger side. And Hypnos was really showcasing that, being able to stop Max Relax at every big interval. Every team fight felt like it could have been even. It could have been either team, but Sleek and Skitza in the backline just picking off one by one with Lars and the supports of Hypnos being there to support them. I mean, that's just good team synergy.
Yeah, I think Max Relax tried to counter that in some way, shape, and form. They opted for that Ramattra, as we saw in an earlier game, as I mentioned, on Circuit Royale as well. And it seemed both those games went pretty much the same way. Like, I think they both played like the first attacker was very good at pushing it. Then when we got to the defending side, they just couldn't get anything. Like, that's what it seemed. It seemed that like Sleek and Skitza were just too good on that Genji and Widowmaker to deny them any space, to deny them any push, to take out their backline, and then you leave the tank and you leave some of the DPS open for pickings on the rest of the team.
Yeah, and I mean, Lars's shield use on Sigma was so strong, being able to just shut down a lot of Max Reacts, the player, I should mention, on those pushes. And it's really strong. It's going to be really interesting to see how these 2 teams play. We are immediately going in on Runa. I believe this is Runa Sapi. I think I'm wrong.
This is Suravasa.
Suravasa, that's my bad. But
yeah,
already going to have the 2 teams coming out. Hypnos looks like they're running a very traditional Brawl style comp. Same thing with Max Relax, but you have the Hazard. You have a lot more dive potential, and that's going to complement you very well with a Tracer Lucio.
Yeah, I think this Brawl is going to scare Hypnos a little bit because, well, actually, no, I think this Lars is actually going to scare Fake Jake because you have that Junker Queen that can just create a shorter distance so easily with a shout and with a knife, and I think that's going to be played here as Fake Jake tries to get onto the point, but he can't do anything because Lars is just there to take him down with a knife. Now we have Sleek on that Sojourn, a fellow Canadian in arms, trying to take him down with Skitza. Skitza takes down Kylo Ren, and it looks like they're going to take the point off of this unless Nilo can do anything, but it doesn't look like he can. And they're going to take this point now and take a couple more heads off of the side of Max Relax.
It was a very good hold, and I mean, already Skitza overextending just a little bit, getting taken out by Fake Jake. That's the thing with Hazard. He does a surprising amount of damage very quickly. Basically just another burst tank, and with the insane mobility that he has, you can pick whatever fights you want. The block, I mean, we were kind of talking about it when we were just observing when Geo and Avalanche were casting, but 50% damage reduction helps out a lot, especially when you're diving onto Sleek. Kylo Ren picking up one, there's Nelio finding another, and Max Relax already taking back this point. It is flip-flopping back and forth, and Max Relax pushing their advantage even further.
I love the switch from Roniz, if I'm saying that name right, to the Tracer. This complements Fake Jake very well. As I mentioned before at the start of this cast, he is a very dive comp oriented character, Hazard, because he was able to get create so many like opportunities to just jump in and deal a lot of damage, and then he can protect himself while reloading his primary fire with that defensive ability. But now Hypnos, they're coming back, they're looking to get a little bit more, but no, Fake Jake is going to ult out. Can he get something off of this? A pulse bomb out from Nonis is going to take one. He's going to take a second, trying to take a third. Fake Jake is there to support him, and it looks like Hypnos are going to have to back off now as Fake Jake tries to take out that Lucio, but the Lucio is just going to live by the skin of his teeth, and now it looks like they're going to take this first.
This looks like a very interesting stagger, and I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You have no tank for almost when this next point unlocks, and it did kind of look like an ult fest a little bit for Max Relax. You used Lucio beat drop, you used pulse bomb, and you used the tear it down from Hazard, which is, I mean, makes a lot of sense. You want to secure that first point, you want to set yourself up for success, and Max Relax look like they're doing it expertly right now. But now you got to watch out. Hypnos has 4 ults on the board, and they're all game-changing. Here we go, though. We're going to see the counter ults come out, and just watch as Hypnos, I mean, the individual plays are going to come out a lot as well. Sleek taking down Kylo Ren's Dragon Blade. The beat drop and the Kitsune Rush are going to turn the tides. Here comes the Junker Queen ult, and Hypnos are on top in point 2.
Yes, they are, and Skitza is there to take it, taking his third, looking for a fourth. He's hungry. Can he find another off of this push? Looks like he can't, but they're still going to keep this aggression on. They're not going to let them get away with their lives, but now it looks like they might back up a little bit as the rest of the team seem to be respawning, and now they're going to look to defend this point with one ult in pocket. Doesn't look like there's any others to follow. Maybe Sleek, but I would love to see that Hazard ult come online again to hopefully take this point. But now we got the Genji ult out. What can the Genji do? He's gonna take one, trying to take that Lucio out. He can't find him. He skids away, and now Fake Jake is gonna get back at Skitza. Skitza can't put anything online with that Genji ult, and now they're gonna push on to point and look to take it out of Hypnos' hands. Ronis is gonna take Sleek down, looking to take another one. Can he find it? No, he can't. Kylo Ren is there to support him, and looks like they're gonna take this point out from Hypnos.
I mean, the ult economy is so strong for Max Relax, and this was something that I really was noticing. Hypnos popped a lot of ults early in that fight to be able to secure this second point, but Max Relax has a lot of points to sustain how long they hold this point. You have Hazard, you have the same 3 ults that you used to win that first point now online, and here we go. They're going to keep this point for as long as possible. Lars decided to jump over to Hazard as well to be able to counteract Fake Jake. We have both support ults being popped at the same time, and Rooney's is going to find Lars with that pulse bomb, and this is what I mean. You're off of this, Max Relax has the potential to hold this second point very strong, building up to that Genji Blade and another tear it down. This could honestly secure this point for them, and Hypnos, I think you have to start looking at point 3 right here. You kind of lost that team fight. Your team is forced to switch and just pop whatever ults they can to regain your presence on the point. But is it going to be enough really to sustain yourself?
I don't think it is. I don't know if that Kiriko ult was the best, but there's going to be Kylo Ren out, and now we're seeing the Lucio popped his ult as well. It's overtime on the point. Can they keep this up? Kylo Ren is looking for one. He gets one with Fake Jake there to take out a second as well. Looking for another Roni. Can he get it? No, Milo is there to support him as well. They're going to take the 4th down, and that's the entire team. And like you said, they have to now start thinking about that 3rd point, as Max Relax are going to take their 2, and they're going to have a couple ults online soon, but Hypnos have a couple to play of their own in the ult resource department, I would say.
Yeah, you have that Hazard ult and the Tracer ult, but same thing with Max Relax, you're building the ones of your own. Here comes Fake Jake's ult to counteract Lars, kind of make it net even right here. Rooney's, with the help of Fake Jake, is going to take out Sleek. Lars finding 2 for himself, and it just looks like Hypnos is going to be the ones to come on top in this scenario. But again, ult economy is proven to be so important in Suravasa right now. Max Relax is coming online to 3 ults by the next team fight, so if they're able to secure the point with none and then build another Hazard ult and Genji Blade, this could honestly win the map for them. We could get pushed to game 3, and I think Max Relax knows that. You're just going to have to play these team fights with another level of expertise.
Yes, and I love how they're playing this dive comp of Max Relax, and now we see the Kiriko ult is coming out, followed up by the Lucio. Can they find any picks? Roni is looking for one, and Lars is going to die now to Roni, and now they're on the point. Let's see if Sleek can live with his life. He's not going to be able to get out of the hands of Roni, and it looks like they're going to take this, but Skitza is going to fire back, taking down their Lucio, and now it's Fake Jake with the rest of his team on the aggression. They have to keep this point protected because you have a lot of different angles that you could come from here.
Yeah, I mean, they used 2 support ults to be able to secure the point, which is okay, because you do have Genji Blade and Hazard Shutdown on the way. You have Tracer Bomb just on both sides, so it's honestly kind of net even right now for both teams. It's going to come down to who plays the team fights better, and right now it's looking like Max Relax taking down both Nezolu and Lars. Oh, but Sleek and Volta are able to find 2 for themselves. They're keeping it in. Hypnos has their full team back online and slowly coming back. Max Relax has to back off a point, but they are not going to want to give this up. Again, you're building ults. You need to secure this last team fight. This is so important. Genji Blade is online in 3, and you have the Hazard ult. This is going to come down to 1 or 2 big call-out plays to end this map.
Yes, and now we have the ult out from Hazard and Fake Jake. Let's see if he can get anything off of it, but no, Lars is going to answer back, taking out their Lucio. But Kylo Ren with the ult out from the Genji is going to take 1, but no is going to get fired back at. And now, Hypnos are keeping this point to themselves. But Fake Jake is there to try and cause some confusion, trying to take out that Kiriko. Can he do it? But he's getting mowed down by the entire rest of the team, and Lars is there to take him out with Sleek, and it looks like they're going to take their first in this game.
Yeah, and Hypnos now are up in the ult economy. I would say you have a lot more high-pressure ults on your side. However, Max Relax, you're building up to that Tracer Pulse Bomb again. You're building up to Lucio beat, and you have the Kiriko gates. It's, again, team fight central is what these are turning down to be. These are mirror comps. So it's going to show how these teams utilize these characters, how these teams fight each other, and what ults are popped when is really going to determine which team is going to come on top. Volta winning the Lucio, finding 2 for themselves, building themselves ever so closer to beat, securing the point for their team, and now Max Relax, for the first time this game, look like they're the ones on the back foot.
They are, and Hypnos have been able to come back from this, mirroring their comp now. But as we see, Fake Jake is looking to take out Skitza, but he's counter-ulted by Lars, and now Lars is going to get Pulse Bomb, or Fake Jake is going to get Pulse Bomb as well. They're going to try to take him down, but no, it's going to be Lars who's going to fall to the Lucy on the side of Max Relax, and now they're going to push onto this as they don't have their tank to help defend the point. But it looks like they can still keep it up as the Genji ult now out from Sleek. Can he find anyone? He's looking for the Genji. He finds the Genji and he finds the Lucio as well. Can he find a third? It doesn't look like he can yet, but he's going to stay on this point now, trying to get Fake Jake off of there, but he's going to push up with that defensive as well. Skitza is going to find Envy, and now he's going to try and find Fake Jake as well, but Fake Jake is going to get traded out. And now I think Hypnos are going to keep this aggression. They got 73% so far on the point. I think they're going to take it, and I think we're going to go to a 0.5.
I agree with you right there. We are going to probably go to the 0.5, and Hypnos, I think right now, they just seem like they figured out Max Relax's plan. They understand what they're trying to do, and they are providing every single correct answer for these scenarios. Sleek able to find an early one on the Envy right as both Kitsune rushes are pop. Volta finding one, Sleek with another, and I mean ticking down one by one. These players fall and Hypnos come on top. We are 0.5 down to the very end, the most important one. And I think Hypnos, by this time, they've woken up, they've locked in, and they are now fully prepared to take this map too.
You know, it's not something you want to see on the side of Max Relax. You don't want to see Hypnos come back. They were on game point, and they've now taken it to a tie game. You lose this, that is a big pain in your head. Like, oh my god, we had that in the palm of our hands, but we lost it. It was so easy, but they've just countered us with this mirror comp, and now we see a lot of aggression coming out in this point. Who is going to take it as it comes online now? Looks like Hypnos is going to try to capture it, but we have a couple ults on the playing field. We have 2 pulse bombs on each team. Let's see who's going to drop the first one, but no, it looks like Sleek is going to drop 2 on the side of Max Relax, and now Max Relax is going to have to start to back up as Lars is going to take down Envy, and they're going to try to take down that last character as well, and the Tracer is going to fall to Lars as well. pushing up into their spawn. Hypnos, you said it, Retros, they found the answer, and it's just been to mirror their comp and to put as much aggression as they can to max relax.
I mean, they are just pushing this advantage so far. You're gonna have Kiri Gates, you're gonna have Genji Blade, you have your... Oh, what a big ult, but Kylo Ren's able to find 2 before he's completely locked down and shut down. Lars picking up 2 for himself to keep this fight even. Fake Jake's gonna grab 1. And honestly, Max Relax, they're down, but they are not out of this. Going to be able to reclaim this point and bring it even further. Already racking up about 10%. But if you're Hypnos, you know, in the back of your mind, it just takes one team fight to secure that point.
It does, and that's something that Max Relax have to keep in mind, is if they lose this point, if they lose this fight, it's more than certain that Hypnos are going to take this and take the 2-game lead, as they now start to flood onto the site, but Max Relax are there to answer. Skitza is trying to take someone down. He's on the point, he's capturing a little bit of it, but Lucio ult is out. Are we going to see a pulse bomb or anything out? We see a Kiriko as well. 2 Kiriko ults down. Who's going to go down? And Kylo Ren is going to find 2 with the switch up to the Echo. This could have been I think this is monumental for the side of Max Relax. I think this is the change they needed. Is they're going to win this team fight and they're going to keep it. Hypnos have got to get back now or else they're going to lose it.
This is exactly what we were talking about early on. How many tricks does Max Relax have up their sleeves to be able to push their advantage right now? The entire team jumping onto Lars and Nezolu. Skitza falling, Lars falling, and only in overtime is there a breath of life left. From the top rope, but not enough. Max Relax, it all looked lost, but we're able to reclaim that last point, regain their mental, and bring the series to a total 1-1. I was not expecting that.
No, honestly, when we saw Hypnos take those 2 points after Max Relax were so close to grasping it, I was thinking, you know what? It's GG's. They're going to get a reverse sweep here. They're going to take the next 3 points and it's going to be over and we're going to be sent to championship match point. But no, Max Relax were there to answer. And I think the one key thing, if you agree with me there, Retrolts, was the Echo. The Echo was so good, getting 2 kills off of there from Kylo Ren. And I think they tried to answer. Hypnos tried to answer back quickly. I think it was with a Torbjorn, but the Torbjorn just couldn't get there quick enough, and they lost it.
No, I think Max Relax realized that outside of playing the mirror comp, they were really up there winning. Having Hypnos showed that they are able to play more of the traditional kind of mirrored one-on-ones a lot better than Max Relax. So it came down to those kind of strange picks, those odd team fights are where they're going to find the most value. And that's really what sent them over the edge to be able to take those first two maps. They kind of lost it because Hypnos realized they're like, wait, it's working for them. It can work for us. And I mean, at that point 5, Kylo Ren swapping over to the Echo was the final piece of the puzzle that really sealed the deal for Max Relax. And if I'm then going into this map 3, I am elated, larger than life. I mean, this is the boost of confidence you need. You just took a whole map off of the tournament favorite. Now, can you take 2? And if you take 2, can you take 3?
I think if they can take 3, that would be a monumental achievement for Max Relax. I mean, we talked about it. Hypnos have all to lose in this, and Max Relax are the underdogs. And talk about dogs, I think my own dogs there were really excited for them to take that last point. Now, as we're going to be headed to our game 3, let's see how this goes down. We're going to King's Row, ladies and gentlemen, and it looks like, if I'm correct, we'll see in a moment who is on the attack and who is on the defense. Now, Retrolls, what do you think King's Row is? Is it a more attacker like favored or a more defender favored map in the current meta?
I would say this first point is very defender sided because you really own, outside of like the little, defender left flank that the attackers have going through the building right there, you really have that main gateway that you have to deal with. So depending on what comps these teams want to run, you're either going to sit very much at the front or you're going to play back by point. You have multiple ways that you can attack point. You can go from the top, you can rotate through back, you can even just go head on and try to fight it right around this statue. But I think that Max Relax on this attack are going to look to push as much of an advantage as they have. Their goal right now, this Malga, this Widow, this Pharmacy, and the Kiriko is going to be, if we get one pick, push. Shove this advantage, take them out one by one, and really look, and a big headshot from Rooney's is going to start this map off.
Yes, and it looks like we are going to see the hazard out from Fake Jake. I love the aggression, I love the push, and Skitza is almost going to die, but I think he's just going to escape out of the grasp of Fake Jake, trying to get him down now. As we see from the side of Hypno, Sleek opting for that Ash, I think is a great pick to try and take some heads off of Max Relax, a great DPS player, and with the Dynamite in hand, get some stagger damage as well. But Skitza coming from the sky, trying to take down whoever they can, and Kylo Ren on that Pharah. We talked about it before, we saw it before out of Max Relax, and this is what I was expecting out from Kylo Ren, is that Pharah. We have Fake Jake there with the dive comp to try and cause some damage, cause a little bit of skirmish in the backline to allow Kylo Ren to just get that ult online without anybody contesting him.
I mean, the real threat that this Pharah is going to provide is just another angle you have to pay attention to. Because this Hazard, this Lucio, this Genji is going to be in your backline threatening a lot, and Kylo Ren on the Pharah can be off in no man's land, just kind of flanking around your team casually, finding those big ults that they were finding the last time this team played on King's Row. So it's going to come down to how Hypnos is able to deal with that. So far, they're dealing with it pretty well right now. Skitza is able to kind of find a little bit of damage here, find a little bit of damage there, and Sleek's able to take down Kylo Ren. But it's going to really matter in these big team fights where ults are being used, where people are dropping the half and critical health. And I mean, right now, it's looking that Hypnos are the ones who are staying in control.
They are indeed in control here, and we saw an ult out from Hypnos with that Bob to try and relieve some of the pressure that Max Relax were applying to them, and we haven't really seen a lot of big plays out so far from either team. I mean, we have a couple ults out in the economy. We've got 3 for the side of Hypnos. I'd love to see that Pulse Bomb come online. And with Fake Jake, we have that Hazard ultimate, which could be a big player to try and deny them. And we're going to see a couple out. We're going to see the Kiriko, we're going to see the Lucio, and we're also going to see the Genji out. And let's see what can happen so far. Fake Jake is getting in there. His ult was online. He has activated it as well. And let's see who can take out first. We got the Junker Queen ult as well. Is going to take Kylo Ren out. Going to take a second out on the Lucio. A third, a fourth. Fragging out for the side of Hypnos is Lars to take 3 off, establishing themselves as the kings of this game.
Lars, out of nowhere, from the top rope, dropped that JQ ult and just ran through the entirety of Max Relax. I mean, anti-heal is such a strong ability, and as I say that, Fake Jake with a one-shot onto Skitza, that is a big player down, but Lars is able to answer back and keep their team up. You are going to be able to get 1 point of Max Relax. Here is your retouch, and you just gotta go. It's go now or go never, and it looks like Hypnos is opting to go now.
They are indeed, as Max Relax are taking control at this point, trying to take it, and they're going to have a Kiriko ult to support them there. Have a couple other ults soon online, as we see Roni is trying to get some picks out there, just dealing a little bit of stagger damage here and there, playing around these corners, as so does Lars in this Junker Queen, and now is going to fall to the side of Max Relax with Fake Jake also taking down Sleek there, and they're going to take this point, and now they get to start pushing this payload off of Hypnos, and it looks like the rest of Hypnos are going to fall here down to Fake Jake. 5-player kill streak so far. Well done out from the side of Max Relax. We thought this was going to be a complete and utter shutout from the side of Hypnos, but Max Relax have been able to answer back well.
Max Relax, everybody on this team looks like the one character that they are able to shine on is the difference maker. Fake Jake on this Hazard has been such a threat through this entire tournament, and same thing with Kylo Ren on these flying characters. We saw it on the Pharah, we're seeing it on the Echo. The the big copy right now, copying that JQ, you're gonna have the anti-heal on your side, finding the JQ before the D transform. It's just you have to keep pushing right now. The counter ult coming out from Lars. Here comes the beat drop, and one by one, ultimates are being popped. People are being found. They're going down, and everyone just has to regroup as this payload gets ever so closer to this second point. Max Relax, though, they're in the driver's seat. Hypnos, they have to find somewhere to regroup. You can't let it be too late, because before you know it, you could be the ones on attacker side.
Yeah, Max Relax are coming now into this position where Hypnos have a little bit of an advantage around a couple corners, so I'd love to see if they change up their comp to play around that. But now Hypnos is going to drop a Kiriko out. Lars is there to follow up, taking down Fake Jake, and it looks like the rest of the team is soon to follow. Envy falling to Skitza. They're going to have control over this point. Now Roni is going to fall to Lars as well. And as you were saying, like, Max Relax have been so critical in their team comp so far. It seems like they all know how to play their character to their absolute best, and Hazard has been a big part in that, and so has Roni and Kylo Ren, I feel. Kylo Ren had a big ultimate there copying the Junker Queen and was able to get a lot of stagger damage and a lot of that anti-heal onto the enemy team.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that I'm noticing with these teams is Hypnos, they know how to play a wide pool of characters very well. But Max Relax, they have those one or two characters that they are stand out on that just completely disrupt the entire enemy team. But it finally looks like Hypnos are able to regain that rope and start pulling their weight again, counteracting Max Relax's attempts at a push. You have one more. You're gonna have Kiri Gates. You're gonna have this Hazard ult. And it's going to matter a lot. 2 ultimates against none is going to be big, and this is the moment where you need them to shine.
Indeed, now is going to pop the Kiriko ult. Fake Jake still has his ult in pocket. I think he's going to use it once he gets onto here. He does, looking to get one. He doesn't get enough. Looking to jump onto the Kiriko. He grabs the Kiriko. Can he find another? He's looking for the Lucio. He sees the Tracer as well. He's shielding up, trying to get it. Finds the Lucio, but the Lucio pops the ult. He's on the Sojourn right now. The Sojourn, Sleek, is going to die to Roni, and it looks like they're going to be able to cap this point. And they got a minute and 30 left on the clock still, and looks like Lars is going to fall to them unless he can get this ult out. But I don't think it would be good to use it in this scenario, as yes, Lars is just going to fall to Kylo Ren, and they're going to be able to push this point even further, making it an even steeper mountain for Hypnos to climb once they get on the attack.
That was almost really scary. Max Relax almost C9'd there on accident from trying to take down Hypnos, but they were able to recover. You're a couple meters away from the final push, and you have the ultimates to play with, so might as well push your advantage as much as you have it to be able to secure this attacker side for yourself. Sleek coming out with a big counter as Fake Jake is able to shut them down, and now it looks like these big team fights are ultimately coming down to these side 1v1s. What a big stake. What a wow. The ultimate economy, the ultimate counterplay, both of these teams are playing at their fullest potential, and this is some of the most entertaining Overwatch I have seen in a while.
Yes, Lars is immaculate on that Junker Queen with that ultimate, being able to push Fake Jake back a little bit more, because Fake Jake can get up into your face, and now we're going to see a double ult out from both Kirikos on each side. There's a lot of speedy play now in this next skirmish, and an ult out from Fake Jake to hopefully get a couple down, but no, Sleek is going to get one, he's going to get two, looking to find another. Does he find? No, he does, and Lars is there to support him as well, and it looks like they're going to deny them this overtime as Sleek finds the last one. Max Relax made a valiant effort to push that cart as far as they could, but now round 1 is over, and now Hypnos, switching to the attack, have to figure out how they're going to push past Max Relax, and we're going to see how Max Relax play this defensive side, if they opt for the Hazard, or if they switch for something else. What are your thoughts here, Retrols?
I mean, the big thing that's really going to come down to it is how these teams fight. Every single team fight looked like it came down to the wire, and 1 or 2 ults was really the deciding factor. I think Hypnos, in terms of total team fights, is definitely the stronger team. You have Skitza, you have Sleek picking off the backline, you have Lars, Volta, and Nezolu in the front, just really providing a lot of like base damage that is going to be very volatile for Max Relax. But again, they're sticking with their attacker-sided comp. They want to play an aggressive defense, and that makes sense. Schiza on the Genji, you have Sleek on the Widow. This is going to be very, very scary, especially with no shield. Sleek is going to have a field day with this enemy team. So Max Relax, you got to play your sightlines careful and your life even more so. I think they can hold it though. I'm a believer. We saw them push it that far where it looked like they were going to get hard held that first point. I think they can do it.
I think they can indeed, and I think as it stands in the name, Max Relax just need to keep it chill here. They don't need to overextend. They can keep their defense at least past this wall, trying to deny Hypnos any space, as we see that Fake Jake is up ahead, trying to put some pressure on with Roni there close to follow. I think as long as they keep them off of this capture point, but it looks like Lars is going to get there. They can win this out, but no, Fake Jake is going to fall to Schiza as well as Sleek taking down Roni, and no, it looked like the whole team just fell out as Hypnos just took them by the neck and said, you know what, get off of this point. We're going to take it as fast as we can.
And that's all that mattered. That one pick determined the team fight as Hypnos were able to steamroll their way onto site, found out Sleek and Schiza just providing so much utility for the rest of the team to be able to come in and just, do what they needed to do and win. Hypnos, you gotta push this. You gotta push this cart. You're gonna push your advantage. You just gotta keep it moving. Sleek kind of get challenged out by Fake Jake right now. Is he gonna be able to find it though? You have the TP out from Kiriko, but Fake Jake finding two with the jump right click. Schiza trying to come in, pick off the remainder, but with both the Kiriko and Lucio up there for Max Relax, it does not matter. They're gonna get held just a little bit longer, and Max Relax, they're still showing signs of life. Even though you lost that first team fight, it does not mean you are out.
Yeah, no, Fake Jake has been an absolute mad lad. I mean, I thought he was going to die in that corridor down to Sleek, but no, he was able to take two out and live. And now it looks like Hypnos are going to fire back, taking down Max Relax. They're going to get to push this point even further, and this seems like a really different change of pace so far from the side of Hypnos. Max Relax had a little bit more aggression to deal with when they were on the attack, but now on the defense, I don't know if Fake Jake is doing a lot for them, being aggressive and being up there. We have seen him frag out, but it's resulted in them still being able to push this cart very far, as he's going to isolate this tank out, but the tank Lars is going to get out with the ultimate, taking down Roni as well, and the Kiriko out as well, two out, and now Lars is going to take two down, Fake Jake and Roni falling to his axe, and now they're going to be able to push this point as Max Relax have to back off before Lars can get any more picks onto them. And this has been an absolute pace of change. I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not 100% convinced that Fake Jake can play that defensive push with this hazard.
It's really coming down to how Hypnos is shutting down Max Relax attempt at team fight. Sleek finding three for themselves right there, and Schiza picking up the other two. You're forced to switch, you're forced to rethink this defending game plan. Kylo Ren jumping over to the Venture, trying to find something, maybe a little bit of pressure in the backline. But with Schiza holding a Genji blade right here, Rooney's with one of themselves. I mean, this is it. This is the last team fight. This is the one that matters. This determines which team is going to be up going into map 4 and possibly the final map. Rooney's is going to be able to find one, popping one on the Voltas, and now this is just the trickle effect.
Indeed, they look like they're going to fall one after the other. Roni's going to take another one down with the Lucio close to follow off of Schiza. And now, like as you said, like they made a valiant defense here so far, switching up, opting for the Venture and the Diva as well. I don't know if it's going to last though. They might be able to make some changes here as we see a Kiriko ult out from the side of Max Relax to keep that aggression up, but Sleek is going to find the Kiriko, now left with only one hero to follow. This is a dire situation as the winner of this will take the game advantage going into this next match 4, as you said, and now they're going to push up again. Schiza can't get anything online with that ultimate, but is in the air trying to find a couple, just staggering the damage right now onto each of them, and it looks like Lars is going to have his ultimate online as well, and he's going to to take it down. He's going to try to find one. Can he find the Lucio? It looks like he can't, but now he's going to find another. Lars and Skitza there, the duo to find them, and Volta is also there to support them. They're going to take this, and Hypnos are now up 2-1.
I mean, Hypnos from that very first team fight won it with such dominance, and they were able to just snowball that until the very end. You had a couple maybe shaky spots in the total map where Max Relax were able to kind of come back and counteract a lot of what you were doing, but at the end of the day, you ulted second. They were missing resources, and Max Relax were just kind of having to pick up the pieces that they were leaving, and Hypnos, they were just able to kind of sweep through right there, pick up Kings Row, and I mean, now you have the map advantage going into game 4. Max Relax, you're back on the back foot. You either win this game 4, push it to map 5, and just play off of that momentum you gain, or Hypnos, you reclaimed that big push that you got lost on Runasapi. Suravasa, apologies. Where do you take it? Do you push through and win that map 4 to bring this series home 3-1, or do you let it slip through your hands again and end up going game 5?
You know what? We saw this before in the Hypnos Max Relax on that push point where they had almost lost it, but they were able to pull back. I'm still a firm believer that Max Relax can pull it out, as we're going to our game 4 and we're going to push on, and I'm going to chop this pronunciation so badly, Rolls. I apologize ahead. Esperanza, I believe is how is it pronounced. Can you support me on there and give me the
I'm pretty
yes
sure
or
it's
no?
Esperanza. So
Esperanza.
Which is going to be a very team fight centered map, because every single team fight you win is such a detrimental gain or loss for your team. Push is such a volatile map type. It is my least favorite game mode, but that also kind of means it makes the best team fights. It's going to really show these teams' masteries of their comps and of their team play, which is going to make for the best games.
Yes, I think it has to come down to how either teams are going to use their environment to their advantage, because Esperanza is a very big map that's favored for high ground and little corners, I feel like. Off from the bat to late game when you're in the other spawn area, there's always those little corners that you can kind of peek out from, and those buildings that are there to support you, as literally the end game on this map is just a straight, narrow, like, ending, and the opposing team has a lot of room to try and defend and push this team where they have to try and fit themselves in this narrow corridor. But now, out from each teams, it looks like we talked about it on the desk at the start. We are going to see a Mauga out from Max Relax. Could this be just a force of like desperation trying to push up against Hypnos and Lars' Junker Queen, or can they make something happen?
I mean, Mauga is either going to be the most dominant force on the map, or just a big ult charge, or just a big walking ult charge for Hypnos. And honestly, with how Max Relax and Fake Jake have been switching back and forth, it's a little scary. Immediately, they make me eat my words. With Fake Jake picking up 2, Max Relax with another, and the team, Max Relax, is going to have the first strong push going forward. By the looks of it, this Mauga is going to be a very scary force for Max Relax. And I think Hypnos might have been caught out again with some matchup inexperience, possibly.
Yeah, I think this could just be a little bit of an experience, and they haven't seen Max Relax's Mauga out in any game so far, though, so this is the first time that they're having to deal with this, and it looks like Lars is trying to push up, but that Mauga is just mowing them down, especially with Fake Jake on that Sojourn in the back line. My Canadian on the pitch, I salute you, and now coming out with the Kiriko ult. Let's see what they can make happen. 2 out from the side of Max Relax onto Hypnos, a 3rd out to follow with Fake Jake taking it, Fake Jake taking a 2nd, and Max Relax on the Mauga is going to take the 5th. and now they're going to just be able to push this point further and further and further. And like you said, Roltz, this is a game where if you lose that team fight, you have to regain a ton of ground in the next. And if you lose two, which is what it's looked like it's been so far, you're even further down in the chute in the dumps that you have to come back from now.
I mean, Lars is forced to switch over to Malga, and Rooney's copies it double Malga. This is the stuff of nightmares right now. But Max Relax with a critical jump onto 2 for Hypnos. Look at the sheer amount of advantage that Max Relax is able to make with the 3 team fights they've won. You are almost 3/4 of your way to the final push, and Hypnos, even if you win one team fight, you are constantly fighting from behind. This is the scary stuff that push provides. You are always on the back foot, it feels like, if you are the losing team, unless you dump ult like Hypnos is.
Yes, and it looks like Sleek is going to take 2, supported by Skitza and Volta to take down 2 of the other remaining team members. And this is going to be one of their first team fight wins here as they finally get some time to push this point and get something on the field. But now it looks like Max Relax are a little bit on the back foot now, seeing as Hypnos came out with that counter Malga to try and match them with a little bit of mirror comp. But also another notable mention out from the side of Hypnos is that Juno. We haven't seen a lot of Juno alts out, at least in ours, and it looks like we are going to go to a bit of a pause. Now, this could be because of some technical issues. We could have had a player that DC'd. So we're going to take a little bit of a moment to get that figured out. We apologize to the ladies and gentlemen at home. We're interested in that fight. And I think, Charles, this gives us a little bit of an opportunity to talk about that matchup. Like, do you think that the switch from the side of Hypnos was accurate enough and sufficient enough on that Mauga to try and answer back?
Oh, I think it's really going to matter in the long run. I mean, Malga v Malga, it just comes down to the rest of your team and how much damage you're able to output, right? So with Max Relax having the Malga and the Echo, you're able to have the 2 Malgas, as we did see Rooney use, which really helped out in the long run. But Lars jumping over, having the Juno ult that they're able to play with as well, and having the double usage of speed is really going to help kind of continue these team fights. When you think it's over, it's really not, because the entirety of Hypnos could be really anywhere utilizing Lucio's speed and Juno ring. I think Hypnos might have found their key swapping to Malga, but again, it's Malga v Malga. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen indeed, and I think another character to mention would be that Sojourn. I mean, I'm not going to be biased as the Canadian on the cast to try and say that the Canadian is the changing factor here, but we have to consider that with that Echo, with that Malga, with that Sojourn, you just have bullets flying everywhere, and that's something that Hypnos have to deal with and understand, is that they're going to have a bunch of stuff absolutely unloaded onto them with this team comp that's coming out from Max Relax, and this is something that once we get back into this game, I think they're taking a little bit of time to think about. It's like, okay, we have bullets flying past us left and right. Are we going to change anything up, or are we going to meet them with that aggression and we're going to say, you want to what? You want to play Malga? We're going to play Malga. You want to play Sojourn? We're going to play Sojourn. You want to play Echo? We're going to play Echo. And I think it's possible we could see a mirror comp here out from the side of Hypnos.
I think that might be their ultimate key to victory, because we saw it on Suravasa. And when it comes to mirror comps, Hypnos clearly is the one that comes on top, and it's Max Relax that ends up having to swap up their team comp and really be the one to make the change instead of trying to force their way and clear Hypnos's team fight power. Malga is such a potent character, and being able to keep yourself alive for so long with that cardiac overdrive, it's really important, because you could just pump out damage and you just live. You just live. And Hypnos, they've clearly shown that they're the team they are the dominant force in team fights. So when you have a force that cannot die in team fights that you do not lose, I mean, you're clearly the favored team.
Yeah, I think they are favored in this scenario, and I think something else to also recognize is we did see a little bit of Juno there. I believe it was out from the side of Hypnos, and now that could be interesting because so far in this grand finals we haven't seen a lot of Juno play, and that could be a game changer. I mean, we mentioned on the cast multiple times that her ultimate is an absolute game changer, from the healing output to the damage increase to anything else that it provides for its team to just be able to take so much space. And that's something that these teams need. And like you mentioned, in this push kind of style of competitive play, it's all about the team fights. If you lose a team fight, you've lost 20 to 30 meters of space that the other team has now gained, and you now have to regain that after each team fight. Now, as it does get farther and farther away from each team spawns, even though they do change up, that can depend, and that can also play a factor. But I think the biggest thing that we have to consider here is how are these team comps playing, not just to keep the fights everlasting, but to make them swift and win, so that you can win fight after fight after fight and gain ground after ground after ground.
Yeah, I mean, when in even talking about team fights, if we're talking about really the duration, Hypnos win the immediate team fight. They are able to find almost an instant pick because Sleek and Skitza are just so volatile on their hero pools, and you just immediately steamroll and find your opening. But if the team fight's prolonged, if both teams are able to keep themselves up, and it comes down to usage of ultimates, that's where Max Relax shines. That's where they're really showing to pump out the most utility and really be the most dominant and scary team that you have to deal with. And I think that's where Hypnos is going to find themselves struggling, is when it comes down to those prolonged team fights. On a map like Push, you really can't have those prolonged team fights because of the nature of the game mode. But it looks like we are back into it, and Max Relax have claim of the bot.
Indeed they do. Now looking to push up. We have the Luciole in pocket from the side of Max Relax. It looks like on the side of Hypnos, they're still opting for that Juno, which is good. And now they're going to push up here where Lars is there to meet them with the Mauga. But an ult out from the Kiriko is going to mow down Lars. And now Max Relax is going to push up as much as they can with these miniguns in hand. They're going to try to take down as many characters as they can on the side of Hypnos, but now they're going to ultimately push back a little bit. But Skitza on the Echo is trying to make something happen. Maybe he can get a mirror out and make it a 2-2, 2-1 on the Mauga map. I think that'll be something very big that we should watch out for. But now Maugas are going hand for hand, cuff for cuff, fist for fist, trying to get each other out. Volta is going to dip out the Lucio, and now Roni's going to take out Layers, but it looks like Hypnos are going to take control at this point now.
Yeah, I mean, that... they just exploded. Just having the Kiriko gates come out and Rooney's and Max Relax jumping out of nowhere. I said it earlier in the map. You could be winning a team fight here and there, but you are always playing from the back foot. And all it took was Max Relax winning that one team fight to be able to really push and find. Rooney's getting the copy out here. Skitza matching with one of their own. Nelio finding one, and we're having double Maugas out of nowhere. This is now just a pop your ult and see what happens kind of game. And it looks like Max Relax are going to be the ones who just ulted more and won more.
Indeed. I mean, Fake Jake and Max Relax on the side of Max Relax, I'm going to be saying that so many times now, are just a force to deal with because they've just got 3 miniguns in pocket. 2 on the Mauga, 1 on Fake Jake. It's just bullets flying everywhere, and it's something Hypnos have to pull out and try and face. I think maybe a switch to the Genji could be something. I'm not too sure if that's what you would say as well, Rolls, as we get into this next team fight where Fake Jake is going to take down Layers, and now they're going to look to push off of this, take down the Juno, take down another as a Tracer is there, I think. Or no, who is that? That's a Juno, or no, it's the Sojourn trying to escape, and it's not going to get out of Max Relax's grasp in the tight corner. I mean, that's a scary sight to see, getting in that corner with Max Relax on that Mauga. I would not want to be in that scenario.
Not at all. Lars jumping over to the hazard to maybe apply a bit more face damage and jump into the back line. Envy is able to pick one up on Neziolu. Or I cannot pronounce your name. I'm so sorry, Nell. but I mean, that was honestly a pretty surprising change. You were running Malga v Malga, it was working. You had the Sojourns and you had the Echoes, which were helping, but jumping over to Hazard, you have a lot more backline presence, and I think that's the angle that Hypnos is opting to go for now. Fight the backline, take down the supports to able to whittle down that Malga as much as possible, but it just doesn't look like it's going to work out quick enough for them.
No, Fake Jake is going to take one, and Sleek is close to follow off of Rooney now with a little bit of Lucio out left to support them on the side of Max Relax. Fake Jake has got to get someone out here as Lyres is still alive and building up that ult very well. Looks like they're going to back off of this. Can they take Max Lyres out? No, it looks like he's going to live, and he has the ult still in pocket. They're going to take control of this, and that's something we've seen so many times out playing this Hazard. Like, this character can just live so long as we see a lot of ults dumped out now. 2 Sojourn ults out on each side. Who's going to fall first? It looks like Lairs is going to take down Fake Jake with the Hazard, and now Max Relax is going to answer back, but no, Skitza on that Echo is going to take down the Malga, and now Hypnos has control of the push point.
With only 2 minutes left, 2 ults online and 1 coming up, Hypnos have to work a lot more than Max Relax does to win this game. But when you have Melio picking off Sleek like that, it is looking very dire. That is 2 minutes is not a lot of time, so you have to make every team fight really matter. Max Relax has shown to be such a dominant force with this Malga, shutting out Hypnos' attempts one after one, and the rest of the team is just picking up the pieces, moving through. I hate to say it super early, with only a minute 30 left, I think we might see the game 5.
I am hoping for it. I'm praying. You guys can't see it on the camera right now, but I'm praying for this map 5, and I think it's going to come through. We only have just less than a minute left in this game to see who will take it, and Hypnos have a mountain to get back on. They're very low on the side of push, and Max Relax are just going to keep up this aggression. They're going to keep pushing, with Fake Jake taking so many names off of the side of Hypnos. Now, continuing to push up, they have this Lucio, and they have 2 ults on the side of Max Relax. Kasune is coming out from Kiriko, but Sleek is going to answer back. Is going to take 2 with Lairs close to follow. Volta as well taking down Roni, and it looks like Hypnos are going to be able to answer back.
I mean, that was a great team fight. You were able to get 2 ults out of play right here, but winning this game off of that is a Herculean task. You have 30 seconds left to push the bot basically across the entire map to claim this game 3 for yourselves. Honestly, if I'm Hypnos in this situation, my mind is set on winning game 5. This is going to be the most important game, because here comes the ults. This is the fight that matters the most. Sleek is going to get 1. Skitza immediately shut down. Hypnos, it looks like they're still in this though. I thought it was they were down, but again, you can't count either of these teams out at any point.
This is indeed a dogfight right now. Both teams are clawing at each other, getting in each other's necks. It's down to the wire. They definitely have a large distance to climb, Hypnos, because they've got more than 100 meters to go. And, you know, Retros, I was a track runner back in my day. The 100 meter didn't seem like that much, but I think in Overwatch it's a bit different. They've got a long way to push this, and especially up against a team like Max Relax with that Mauga, and now with the Sojourn on Fake Jake. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. It would be a miracle out, but it looks like they are going to cap that first point, and it's still in the overtime. Fake Jake has popped his ult. Can he grab anybody off to the side? It's going to be Roni. He's going to grab the first, but now Lyra's out with the ult, supported by the Kiriko. Can he find someone? He finds the Kiriko off of Envy, and now they're going to keep pushing out, trying to defend this, trying to keep possession over the point to not allow Max Relax to take this to game 5. Lairs is just getting in there, jumping in. He's going to take Max Relax down, and now with the Sojourn, they have to back off as they still have a control over this point, but Lairs has got to make sure that he doesn't C9 here. They don't get off of this point. They don't relieve control, because Hazard is a very dive-oriented character, as we mentioned before, and if he dives off of that and nobody's left there, this could be a very, very gruel end for Hypnos.
I agree. This is one team fight away from ending. If you're Hypnos, you are very scared fighting in this team fight. Rooney's able to pick one up on the Skitza right there, and it looks like they're the ones who are going to be up here popping the Kitsune gates. It looks like it could be over for Hypnos, but I mean, you got it so far. You are clawing your way back from the very edge of defeat. You don't want to call it just yet, but I think Max Relax are going to hang up the phone for you. We are going to game 5.
I think we both have the biggest smiles on our faces right now, Retros, and to say so, it was an amazing match, and we should be happy about that. I think both teams should be happy about that. They played their hearts out, but now we go to a game 5. I'm forgetting the name already. Team Max Relax was able to shut it out in a stylish fashion, getting a copy onto Lairs' Hazard to be able to deny him any space, any control, even with his utility to use. And it was well played out from Max Relax to take this to this game 5.
Yeah, I mean, the swap from Lars onto the Hazard showed to be pretty pivotal when it came down to some of those later team fights, but I think Max Relax sticking to the Malga, sticking to that comp, they had very little changes throughout the game. It really just came down to what team fights could they win, and the ones they did win, being the early ones, it mattered the most. They got so much mileage off of those 3 team fight wins at the very beginning that it ultimately was the reason they won the game. Hypnos was playing on the back foot since the very beginning. That is 8 minutes to try to push the bot basically across the entire map. That's a pretty staggering task.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it before in the little bit of that break that we had. They needed to play these team fights really fast and really quick to be able to just get rid of Max Relax so that they can get some space, so that they can get some time on the board. But we're done with that game. We're over. It's finished. It's been concluded. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we head to game 5 on Oasis. This is going to be big.
This is going to be an exciting one. And from Max Relax, makes a lot of sense. You're going to stick with the Malga. It worked out so well for you before, but Lars is able to hop on to the Junker Queen. You are able to get a lot of mileage right here, and it is going to matter a lot. These maps, honestly, outside of push, make for the best team fights. But I think when it comes down to control point, you're going to see a lot more players highlights than you would on any other map. Just so is the nature of the game, and immediately Skitza and Sleek are proving my point exactly.
Yeah, they're popping off. Skitza getting 3 off with his utility in hand. Now they're going to be able to capture this point. Hypnos are taking the advantage early in this game. We'll have to see how Max Relax will counter back, because I think the pick on the Malga is pretty good. Like, Malga is a very tanky player that can take some space and that can push other people off, but when you're faced up against someone like a Junker Queen, I think it's hard to counteract. But here we go, we're into the fight again. Lars is going to take down Roni with that knife, looking to take down another. He does, he takes down Envy, and Sleek is close to follow, taking 2 down. Nilio and Fake Jake, and now Max Relax is just going to fall off the point, trying to deny them that ult build-up, and they're going to continue to stagger up this percentage on the control point.
I mean, playing a little bit of ring around the rosy right there with Max Relax, trying to find that Malga. He's huge, but I mean, he was able to hide around the pole just for a little bit, but Lars immediately was able to start that big team fight for Hypnos, and now we're 50% of the way on their side. This is looking a little bit scary for Max Relax. You need to find something here. Hypnos has more ult charge. They're going to be the ones who have the ults come online first. So it's how do you play with those? How do you play off those? And who's going to be the team to come out on top?
I think this Echo is also something we have to consider, as he's going to take down the Kiriko high up in the sky. It doesn't look like Hypnos. Well, Hypnos have Sleek to deal with this this Echo on the side of Max Relax, but is it going to be enough? I mean, that ultimate out from the Echo could be very big, counteracting that Junker Queen. But now we have 4 or 5 ults out from the side of Hypnos. Looks like they're gonna pop 3. We have Genji We have Sojourn and we have Lucio all popping. Sleek is going to take one as follows with Skitza. Looking to take another off of this Mauga. Can he find it? It looks like he does, but it looks like Lars is going to have to clean it up now. But they're going to take back this point. Max Relax getting a little bit of percentage there, but I think Hypnos have closed out this first one, and this has put Max Relax on the back step now. They have to reconsider their comp, and you know what would surprise me is if they went back to that hazard, which I think could work wonders for them.
I think it would provide them a lot more dive potential and honestly counter dive with the walls. But a huge five-man anti onto Max Relax is going to be the thing that seals their Map 1 story. I thought I was speaking a bit too soon because the Mauga cage popped and Rooney's was able to find one. But ultimately, Hypnos finding map 1 of control point, and now Max Relax, you have one more map to make the changes you need because this could be your last.
Yes, it could be indeed, and I think to sum up something that kind of happened in that last round, I think Roni was a bit confused there on the Echo. I think he tried to go for the tank copy there, but found himself with the Kiriko. We saw a little bit he was shaking there. He was like, what the heck happened? I didn't go for this. I didn't want to substitute Kiriko. I mean, it could have been in the playbook. I'm not too sure, but we hadn't seen a lot of copying on the healer so far, though, so that was kind of a little odd there in the last game. But now they're on the back foot. Max Relax have got to pull back if they're going to take down the Giants that have been Hypnos. And so far, this has been monumental for them because we thought it was going to be a full sweep. I know now that this can be a winning game on the side of Max Relax if they pull it together and if they play against what Hypnos are bringing to the table.
They have shown to have the tools to be able to counteract Hypnos. But again, from what we talked about earlier, the longer these team fights the shorter these team fights become, the more Hypnos can come on top. Lars with the quickest 2K in the East. I was gonna say the West, but we're in the West. But yeah, already able to take control of this point. We are gonna finally see an Orisa, a very powerful counter onto Junker Queen. So it makes a lot of sense. FACEIT gonna jump over to Ash, but it does not matter. Sleek shutting it down. Hypnos, I think they have the answer key, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if Max Relax can answer back now because it seems like since they're on the back foot, they're starting to wobble a little bit. They're starting to lose their balance. As Sleek is there to put the nail in the coffin, I think, as they're going to take 30% right now on it. Skitza is close to follow, taking down that Orisa. I think Max Relax have just become a little shattered. You know, they thought they could get back with the Mauga comp, and I think it's still possible for them to switch up to this hazard as Hypnos have now got 50% on the control point. Poking to take it, but now we're going to see an ult out from the Lucio. They're going to push up. Let's see if this Orisa can deny it. It looks like Roni is going to take down one. The Orisa is going to take down another. There's trades all out left and right, and it looks like the Echo copied the Soldier, or the Junker Queen is going to take down one. And now Roni there to support his tank. Can the tank live? It looks like he can. The Fortify out on the tank. Skitza is still there to try and get something. Is he going to pop the ult? No, it looks like he's going to back up, and Max Relax finally taking some control on this point.
The Orisa looked like a great swap, and FACEIT jumping onto the Tracer, you're able to kind of mess with the backline a little bit, really kind of provide some big damage. I mean, at the end of the day, Hypnos has regained control. They have 4 ults online for themselves, but Max Relax look to kind of be in the driver's seat at the moment. But really a big shutdown with FACEIT as well. Sleek is able to pick 2 up. This is not over, but that is an unfortunate drop.
I think we might have the final nail in the coffin unless FACEIT can pull something out here with the Tracer to keep the point alive for them for just a little bit longer. They have the ults out. They switch to the hazard. Now, is it soon enough? Is it on the line? I think it is, but no, the hazard has made it onto the point, walling himself off a little bit there. But now he's got to get the members of Hypnos off this point to take it. But no, Junker Queen is there to get the ult out. Max Relax is anti-healed, and he's going to be taken down. And now, seconds ticking off the clock. I think it's only a matter of moments until, yes, we do see Hypnos are going to take Game 5 and take the series. A beautiful play out to finish it out, and Max Relax could have pulled it back, but congrats to Hypnos. And we have our casters back. Geo, Avalanche, welcome back to the desk. What are you guys thinking? I want to see what you guys thought in the background. What could you see that we didn't talk about?
I mean,
Yeah,
we were so impressed by Max Relax just taking a map off in the first place. The fact that they pulled it to 5 maps is even bigger of a testament to them coming in and being a team that is named after your tank. Your tank player is the name of your team up against a team that has been partnered and has so much backing as an org. And I know it's going into Christmas, so Hypnos might have wound down a little bit, but they've come in here, they've qualified. Yeah, it was a little bit messy, but I think you saw in that final map that the class of the pros really shone through.
Yeah, and I think watching the match and trying to get to the heart of like why was Hypnos struggling more, and it's not that like the players on the side of Max Relax, where like we're saying are bad or worse than the players on Hypnos. The prediction came in from Hypnos being like, oh, that's the core of Hypnos that are second in the export division, versus a lot of different players who don't really have a lot of similar teams together coming together and actually giving them a lot of pushback. And I think a lot of it came down to, it seemed like Hypnos was maybe just a little bit behind on the understanding of the new patch, especially with Hazard. Fake Jake was running very well on Hazard, as well as when he even weren't on tank when Fake Jake was playing another role. They just seemed to be a little bit on top of it in terms of the composition and understanding it, as well as like when they rotated to like even the Moga on Esperanza versus Hypnos, very much running the Queen. That was their like main thing that they're running. Lars very good on the Queen, but it did mean that they were kind of fighting uphill a lot of the time compositionally.
Yeah, I mean, one big thing that we were talking about is the longer those team fights ran, the more it was looking in favor of Max Relax. But the second that Hypnos were able to get that pick up and just swarm onto the team, I mean, they were shutting them down every single time. It looked a little bit doable, and that Max Relax found the key to their problems on push. But at the end of the day, Hypnos, you just proved to be the stronger team fight team and shut down that control point 2-0.
Yes, and I love how also like really close it was. I mean, Avalanche, you touched on it as well. Like this team, Max Relax, was the underdogs in this scenario. Like we didn't expect them. I mean, most of us didn't expect them to take 2, let alone like how many or go the distance that they did. And this has been a big achievement for them. I think we talked about it before. I think these underdogs are going to be helped a little bit when it comes to next season, because now they've been realized and they've been recognized as a force to be taken seriously, taking 2 games off of Hypnos, a well-established team. And you mentioned it also, they can use this to support their backing, to find a sponsored team and just find some support going into the couple seasons or whatever they may play in next.
Yeah, we were a little bit worried seeing Circuit Royale and just how dominant Hypnos were able to be on that. But the fact that they came out and not only the first map on the first point on Saravasa, they pulled out the first 2 and really flipped it in their favor, and you could see the momentum sort of start to shift, and you could see how the Hazard was sort of slightly affecting the Hypnos plays. Like maybe all of our different set plays and all that we want to do, we don't have those protocols yet, and I think they'll find them. I don't think they'll be too worried going into the playoffs, which will happen in a couple of weeks' time. But I think they've got a bit to work on over the festive period, and maybe they'll have to take a couple less days off and see if they can do a bit more scrims just to make sure that they're caught up with everything. And hopefully, I mean, they look like they were fine. When they were on top, they were on top. You could see their class. You could see why they're the pros. You could see why they're signed to an org. But I think Max Relax just really have to take away from this that they went in, they were the complete underdogs, and they managed to take 2 maps off of an established team. This was the core of Hypnos coming in. This was a team that has placed well at different tournaments throughout EMEA. This is a team that has done well on a significant, consistent basis. Up against a team that, yeah, I think these guys have played in multiple different FACEIT teams, but this is the first time of them coming together and playing as a team in this tournament. We saw some of them really shine, especially I think Fake Jake, as we move into potentially Hazard being a bit more meta, could look to say, look, this is how I performed against a team that we know is established, and go out and say to an org, look, sign me up, sign the rest of the team up. The rest of the team played really well during the whole course of this 5-map series. So yeah, I'd like to see them come back, and I'll be interested to see the playoffs and how they do.
Yeah, sign me up to watch more, and we can, because this is only the qualifiers, right? We'll see more of these teams in the community showdown too. So Hypnos and Max Relax, they're in the community showdown. So are Lucky Cat and Nevs. So those 4 teams have made it. They are charging onwards towards that $7,500 you added there. And now I'm thinking I'd love to see it run back. I'd love to see Hypnos versus Max Relax. Maybe with Max Relax a little bit more time to, find even more synergy within each other. I mean, in any competition, right? From esports to traditional sports to anything where you're competing, when you start getting absolutely demolished, like what happened on circuit, like that was a sit down little bro situation, and we're all thinking, oh no, this is gonna be rough to watch. But no, Max Relax team turn it around. They don't like let that hamper them. They continue forward and make it look like, wait, suddenly it's Hypnos on the back foot. And that is what really impressed me about the team. How they didn't let that first map define them. They took it and they evolved.
Yeah,
I think it's so easy when you're playing to just get a bit of a mental block, especially you've come in, but I think it might have helped them with the fact that they knew what they were up against. They know this is the team that's the org coming in. This is the team that everyone wants to beat, and this is the team that is gonna be the big match out of everything. And knowing that they've come in and they've taken every single map that they've come in with, even in the Swiss, they got through 5-0. So knowing that no one's taken a map off them yet, that is an achievement. The fact that they managed to take 2, and I mean, the momentum was with them going into Oasis. But yeah, at the end of the day, we saw why Hypnos is signed, and we saw why they are the pro players. But yeah, full congratulations to both teams, and Team Nevs and Lucky Cat for getting through to the playoffs. And I can't wait to see more of them, as well as other teams that have qualified from different tournaments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think if you're Hypnos, you gotta honestly go back to the drawing board a little bit, because you saw today that you were very close from being taken down by Max Relax. That honestly is the boost that they needed to go in to out of these qualifiers really swinging, and I would love to see this run back. I honestly believe that Team Max Relax, they could do it if you get the run back with the proper voting and the proper scrim. So if you're Hypnos, you got to go and be like, you know what? We are touchable. They are able to contest us. What do we need to do to make sure that we are going to stay as dominant as, everybody knows us to be?
Yeah, I think going into the next, however they may face each other, I think for anybody at home watching who's looking to pick up a well-oriented team, Max Relax is the team to pick up. Like, if they can get some support, if they can find a coach, if they can find the backing from an actual organization, I wouldn't be too scrutinized to say that they can beat Hypnos in the next time they face, wherever and whenever that may be. So I think that was an amazing play from them. Like we mentioned so many times, they were the first team in this entire qualifier tournament to take not 1, but 2 games off of them, which was a big achievement. And now, even though Hypnos might have not been at their A game, calling me into the festive seasons, as you said, Avalanche, I think they can still come back and they can find some more like practice and stuff. And Max Relax could be a force to reckon with. But I believe, Gio, I'm going to pass it off to you. I think we're going to be ending off soon. As do we have a lot more to talk about here?
Well, yeah, we've already talked about how this is in the end for 4 of these teams. They're going on to compete for that 7,500. There's a lot of money on the line. And of course, in this day and age, anyone can become a superstar in front of the camera and be a breakout star. Next year with Overwatch is the perfect time for us to have our first true like wild card moment where someone comes out of nowhere from FACEIT, relegates one of the teams from OWCS to get sent down, and just sends it and just full sends it. And that's so exciting, and that's what we're going to have to look forward to in 2025. And these players at this level, they're primed and ready to take advantage of that opportunity. But thank you to the staff running the show. Thank you, of course, to FACEIT for hosting it. Thank you to our production room of Stev, Diego, and Will, and to Charge overall, who do a lot of production, especially here in Scotland with Battle for Glasgow, Battle for Scotland as well. So it's always a pleasure to work with my fellow Scots and a Scottish-based production company. And of course, thank you to my fellow casters, Swag, Retro, Avalanche. It's been a pleasure being a part of this 4-piece barbershop quartet of Overwatch casting. And it was lovely to see that Hypnos, they got a little bit tested, but perhaps that's just going to embolden them further in the next step of this tournament. But that's been us here with the Charge qualifiers. Don't go too far away from the FACEIT, because you can check, I believe it's the 4th and the 5th.
Yes.
Yeah, of January.
Yes.
That is when the next stage happens. So the 4th and the 5th. Put it in your calendars now. Get time off work. Tell your teachers you won't be in, because that is when you need to be watching some Overwatch. But alas, that's it from us. Don't forget to laugh loud and love yourself. All right, good night.
sata, sata, sata. Me gusta en la pata, pata, pata. Dame, dame ahí, dame, dame ahí. A fuego, maquinita, a fuego. Yo te quiero dar, papi, sin miedo. Yo te quiero dar, papi, sin miedo. Ay, dale, 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 dale. Yo quiero romper modales, los modales. Ay, ay, dale, 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 dale. A los grita, 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 dale. Ey. Dale, dale.